Factz with Adam Curry for September 11th, 2024. This is episode 100.
Jello Beats, holla at me.
That's right, this is it, the pinnacle. We have reached the mountaintop. Welcome to 100, the final episode. I'm Adam Curry coming to you from the heart of the Texas Hill Country. It is time, for the last time, to spin the wheel of topics from here to Northern Virginia. Please say hello to my friend on the other end, the one and only Mr. Moe Factz.
How you doing, Adam?
I'm much better now that I'm hearing you, Mo, although life is pretty good in general. It's good to hear you, brother. It's good to have us back on the sticks again, on the talking sticks.
Man, it's always a good time that when we can get together and bring it to the table.
Yes.
Get it off and under the rug and get it on top of the table.
So it's a little bittersweet because this is the final episode in the series of Moe Factz with Adam Curry. Also, I think when we were talking just before we started, we had a quick chat. You know, neither of us are really good with dates, and you said 2 weeks ago, you said, how is your calendar for next week or in 2 weeks? And I said, it's good because I'm going away. We're on vacation, even though I was working, but, you know, it's still trying to be vacation. And we planned for this day, and only this morning did I realize, it's September 11th. Which seems to have been forgotten this year by most.
Right.
It's like, never forget, but 23 years later, like, oh yeah, it's September 11th. Yeah. How old were you when 9/11 happened, actually?
I was 20.
Okay,
21.
all right. So then you were old enough to actually remember. But so many.
Yeah, I remember it vividly.
Yeah, so many don't remember it anymore. Anyway.
That was pre-cell phone. But I also I'd like to say happy belated birthday.
Oh, thank you very much.
I'm terrible at that. Don't hold it count to my head, not my heart, as people say.
It's okay. It's more than okay. You know, Tina threw a surprise party for me. And
right. I was there.
I know that exactly. She's like, you know, I don't think should have. She said I was thinking about who to invite, but I didn't think that would be the right place for you and Mo to meet face to face for the first time. And I'm like,
I was in the back corner.
Yeah,
I slid in and slid out. Yeah.
I knew it. I knew you were there. I knew it. It's all good, brother. And I am so excited to get started with the episode 100. Now, I have no idea what you've put together because throughout the past 4 years now. It's 5 years. That's right. 5
you
years.
Forgot. You forgot, Adam.
I know. I forgot. It's actually 4.5 years. Yeah, because
No, it's 5.
No, it is 5. You're right. It is 5. Yeah, because we started talking.
Almost to the date.
That's right. We started talking on the way back from my honeymoon, which was over 5 years ago. And just for a Genesis check for everybody, we were talking and, we just on DM, I think it was Twitter DM for whatever reason. That was the mode of choice.
Well, what happened was, I can tell the story. You said DOS on the show.
Oh, right. DOS. That's right.
And I sent you a Twitter DM. It says ADOS because the A is important because, and that from there, it just went into a DM back and forth, and here we are 5 years later.
Yeah, well, because you're essentially a No Agenda producer, and whenever I hear something from, I know that the No Agenda producers are smarter than we are, and I was like, okay, this guy knows what he's talking about. It was very interesting to me, and then we just kind of talk on the phone. I think for once a week or something. You say, hey, let me catch up on this, and then at a certain point, I think I said, dude, what are we doing here? We should be recording this. And then I had to twist your arm. Were you doing the lives at that point?
I was doing the lives.
YouTube lives? Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, all of that is culminated in this final episode. So for the last time, I'm going to spin up the wheel of topics. Round and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows except for the man on the other end, my friend, Moe Factz, because he put it all together for us. The topic of episode 100 is...
the Nword.
Oh, the word never spoken in 100 episodes. The Nword. Yes. All right.
It's the rabbit hole of all rabbit holes. But before we dive in, I think it's a well-deserved trigger warning.
Uh-oh. Here we go.
Trigger warning.
Stand by, everybody. It's going to happen.
Trigger warning. Your attention, please. Trigger warning has been activated.
All right, everybody's set. We are good to go. With trigger warnings in place, we are set. We're strapped in.
Okay, so I got it. This show segment in blocks. So the first block is going to be what the word possibly could mean and how you should react to either saying or hearing the word. So as we always do, we got to go to Neely Fuller.
Yes.
And he's going to explain if there is a definition for the word.
If it's a white supremacist, when they look at a non-white person, they always come up with what they call nicknames for them that they consider to be offensive, considered to be a put-down. The white supremacists, they invent terms that they think that will make you, quote, unquote, angry or make you feel bad or make you go into a dejective mood. But the way the code handles the word, the N-word, I just simply say you give it a definition because that's where its power comes from. It doesn't have a definition. Every definition that I've ever seen for that has been it's a derogatory term for a person of African descent, Negro or colored, people of color, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so when a white person uses the word, they have found from experience that they get a reaction from the non-white person that resents it. And so that's fun to them. That means something to them. And so they reserve that word because they get that kind of reaction, because they want that kind of reaction.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting because when Neely Fuller Jr. started off there, the first thing I thought was, oh, that's what 45 Savage does all the time. Little Marco, low energy Jeb. He's a white supremacist.
Well, the thing is, and here's the thing about this, what's special about this word is, I went back and looked because I thought it had a definition. Because growing up, you were told, it means you're lazy, shiftless, ignorant from your parents. You know what I'm saying? That's something you never want to be. So that's what this word, it was an ugly word. This is what it means. At the same time, it was used, as we all know, as kind of either a term of endearment or a jab or you know what I'm saying, someone in a jovial manner, intraracial. Let's be clear here.
In the 70s, although I too was taught never, ever, ever to use that word in normal day parlance, it was totally interracial. And as long as it was followed by please. Now that's the 70s. Right. I think that changed a little bit. But then, it became the N-word and the word never spoken certainly not by white people.
So we're going to get to that, but let's just get to not having a definition. So if it doesn't have a definition, but it's used to elicit a certain reaction out of people, I've come to the understanding that this is a one-word spell.
Oh, yes, very good. Yes, it is. It's clear, and anything that elicits an emotional and often physical reaction, I think that is the definition of a spell, is it not?
Right. Abracadabra has no meaning, you know what I'm saying, but it's uttered to elicit a reaction, a magical reaction, right? This is the same. This is the same exact way. And I looked at other racial slurs and either other slurs. All of them they all have a root, because we know what the F word means, wetback, that comes from all of them, even, all of them. But this one particular word, only they say is derogatory. It's a derogatory. Why is it derogatory? And nobody ever answered that question, which when I heard this clip many years ago, I started looking and what is this word? I mean, we understand you don't say it. This is my rule. I don't use the word in mixed company. That's my rule. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, even doing the show is quasi breaking the rule, but This is to bring understanding.
It's for science. It's for science, Mo.
Right.
It's for science.
And humanities. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is science and humanities. But
exactly.
So it does not have a definition. Which, I mean, I'm trying to tell you, I'll try to find old dictionaries that might, because, they're always changing definitions. But like I said, growing up, the spoken definition was ignorant, shiftless, lazy, that kind of thing. That was the meaning. But on paper, it never has. And if somebody does have an old dictionary with a definition, please screenshot it, send it to me, mofactz@gmail.com.
So if I can just read from the Merriam-Webster dictionary, which is, although they've changed all kinds of meanings over the years, such as vaccine, you're right. It says used as an insulting and contemptuous term for a black person, but it doesn't define what it is. Used as when you say it's insulting. You're right. There is no actual definition of what it means, but it is, according to Merriam-Webster, almost certainly the most offensive and inflammatory racial slur in English.
Without a meaning.
Yes. Whereas the F word, that definitely has a definition. The D word. There's a lot. It's a
Wikipedia list with all the other racial slurs and their origins. But this one is just a derogatory word for a black person. Yeah. And here's the other thing. Like, when they want to use it for other groups, they'll throw something in front of it.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But it still doesn't have a definition.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't want to get hung up on this first clip. I just want to, because like I said, we're playing with a powder keg here. Seriously. I mean, like, it shouldn't be, but the fact that it is lets you know it's more to it than just being a term.
For sure.
So, all right, let's go to get to the second part of this clip.
They want the black person to get upset. And knowing this years ago, I came up with a definition for it. Since derogatory is a derogatory term, but they don't tell you why. See, that's the key to its power.
Yes, sir.
The minute you give a definition to a word, it begins to lose its power because it limits its power to that definition.
Oh, yeah.
But if you don't give it a definition, I can call you by any name. I can make up a name right now and call you by that name, and you don't know what it is I'm calling you. I have power over you because now you're reacting to something that you can't understand, and because that's what it really is. But I say that a N, when they use the N word, I have it in the code book. It's just a term that the white supremacists use to say that I'm a victim of white supremacy. That's basically what they're saying, because you can't be the N word without being a victim of white supremacy. If you're not a victim of white supremacy, you can't be that. So by definition, they're just saying you're a prisoner of war.
Oh, that's interesting. So it's really an affirmation. When you respond to it, you are affirming that you're this victim of war.
No, well, they're saying whether or not you affirm to it or not, what they're saying is, in more recent terms, and this is something I've thought about, it's the way of saying you're not like us.
Sure.
That's like how this whole Kendrick Lamar thing, foreshadowing.
They ain't like us. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
To say you're on the side of this line and we're on the other side of this line. And it's meant to, one, put you in your place, two, to hopefully, well, not all the time, but in some cases, in more recent history, we've seen on video or everything else, to elicit a response out of you. And here's the weird part. Yeah, I said that.
I'm not counting.
Yeah. Here's the strange part is that if you react to the word violently, then you actually put yourself in that predicament of actually becoming a slave by the 13th Amendment. How you like that?
Interesting.
Because you haul off, hit the person. Now you're a criminal charge. if you convicted of that crime, you become an actual slave.
Yeah, you do. I'm just going to withhold because I'm loving I'm loving your layout here.
Okay, so now what we have to do is, because I know I can hear them triggered already. This is what you do if you're ever called that word per Neely Fuller.
We don't know what to do when we isolated with a whole bunch of white folks, and we need a code for handling that. See what I mean? That's one thing I learned being on that mountain in Japan, because there's mostly white guys up there. And you know what? I got along with them because I had a code. See, I learned real quick that that's all I needed. Put me around any bunch of white folks, I don't have no problem. When they use the word nigger, which is what they did, I don't even flinch. I don't bat an eye. Why? Codification. That's the only difference between me and the other black guy. We're both black. But why is it that I acted different from the way he acted? He goes berserk. I was calm all the time. Now, because I'm smarter or stronger or whatever, no. Codification. I'm going according to a code.
Codification.
Don't flinch. Don't move. Just look at them. And to go back to a previous episode when we talked about the other N-word, Neanderthal.
Yes.
And how we saw that being used intraracial between quote unquote white people and quote unquote orange people, which is another derogatory term that they took a color and made it a term or a slur. They throw this word around Neanderthal. But even that has some kind of root to it. Even if not true, you understand, okay, this is your logic, how you got to being a slur. But once again, the N-word doesn't have a slur, which I'm going to stand on that it is a spell. It is a one-word spell to elicit a reaction. And if you feed into that reaction, then you're playing right into the person's hand and doing exactly what they want to do. So as Neely Fuller said, you have to have codification and not react.
I saw a video just this week. You might have seen it. I think it looked like an Asian woman, and she was on the subway, and she was just yelling the N-word at this black lady and going over and over. And she was she didn't let the spell affect her. It was really interesting. And the whole thing had no power.
That's the point. That's the thing. It's like you mashing the button.
Yeah.
And the button is not like a doorbell. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's not working. I'm mashing your button and it's not working. Here's another example with Rogan. When they dug up those old tapes.
Right.
They thought black people were going to be all upset with Rogan, which I said I was more upset with his comments about the monkeys, you know what I'm saying? Because that's...
Right, the Planet of the Apes, yeah.
Yeah, that leads into scientific racism, but it's losing its power.
Yeah.
Because I think it's a consciousness of awareness to say, you know what, you want me to react, you want me to spaz and just wild out, and like you said, like you saw in the video, and hopeful, I'm hopeful that's the case. But let's get back into more of how to be codified with Neely Fuller.
When white people say nigger around me, I don't flinch, I don't bat an eye. All you got to do is just tell yourself that. You don't have to get permission from nobody or nothing. You just tell yourself, that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to even look up. Whatever I'm doing, I'm not going to even look around. Keep doing just what I'm doing. Because they're saying it when I'm not around anyway. See what I mean? I already know that. See, understanding. I understand racism. I'm not expecting them to act any other way. They can walk around and say nigga all day. It won't bother me out. And not at all. None. nigger, 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 all day long. It will not bother me. I mean, they can try it, They can come in and announce. Well, fella, yesterday I counted the times I said nigger. It came to 312. I'm going to double that today. Help yourself. Triple it,
How old is this this particular piece with Neely Fuller?
This piece is probably, I'm going to say about 15 years old.
Yeah.
Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Maybe somewhere around there, 12 to 15 years old. But that's how you got the attitude. You got triple it. Because here's the thing. Because people say, oh, I felt disrespected. Going back to code.
Right.
The only respect is self-respect. And the only way you can disrespect yourself is lie to yourself. That's it.
Yeah, completely.
And what you do is you don't become a slave to your emotions. That's where they want you at. They want you in your emotions. And like you said, that lady was trying to poke that woman's button to set her off. And we all have buttons. And because I said, this is not, hopefully this show is bigger than the word. This is, what is your word? Because we all got a word.
Mm-hmm.
For women, it's the B word. I mean, for every racial group, there's a word, or whatever. What is your word? And can you conquer your emotions
it's kind
over that word?
It's kind of the definition of trolling.
Yes.
Because I get trolled a lot, just for my opinions or for stuff I say on No Agenda. And the minute you give into it, and the minute you respond, then they know, got him. There's his trigger word. There's his trigger. And then
you can respond.
Yes, but the minute you respond negatively, if emotionally, etc. Yep. Yeah. But obviously, even responding is a win for the troll. Because the troll just wants to ride on my flow, obviously.
Correct.
Hey, there's Rocco. Hey, how's Rocco doing?
He's alive and well. I mean,
I can tell. He's good. Yeah. He's good.
It must be the mail lady, because I don't know what that relationship between mail trucks and dogs, but
something weird about it.
Yeah. But just getting back to the point, everybody, this the ultimate troll.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just don't respond emotionally. You just look and okay, triple it. You want to troll, triple your troll. That kind of thing.
Right.
And just for a minute, this is because we always get weave in and out of what's going on in current events. This happened on the debate last night.
Yes.
As soon as Kamala Harris said something about Trump's crowd leaving, it trolled him.
Yeah. You're right.
And I was like, no, don't take the bait. Don't just look at her. Just look at her. He stay on point.
He did pretty well with most of it. The troll that she was trying continuously was, he doesn't respect our military, and he tripled that. He did not respond. I mean, he was really good at that. But yeah, the crowd size thing, no, he couldn't help himself there.
And I don't know what that is. I mean, because we know he's a hospitality guy, and maybe that is a trigger for him. But I'm just showing people an example that everybody has something. If you leave that sore spot open and you don't address it and, get to the root of why you feel that way, you're always going to be a slave to your emotions.
That's correct.
So, all right. So let's get into number 8.
See, it's a mindset. Mm-hmm. Codification is a mindset. But it's orchestrated. It's precision. You start Breaking Bad and calling them whitey and all this old kind of stuff and all like that. Hey, it has just the opposite effect. Found that out real early. They're the ones tiptoeing. When they use the word nigger, they start tiptoeing from then on. Start wanting to do you favors. Because you didn't react. Not at all. None. See, and that what that's telling them is that this guy's black. I don't know whether he's a nigger or not. In fact, I don't know what in the hell he is. other than weird, you know. And that's one thing that white supremacists don't like. You don't like to be able not to be able to figure you out.
Oh, interesting. Double interesting that he used the term weird, which was an attempt to, like an N-word for J.D. Vance and for Trump. That was, which was not bad as an attempt, but of course it doesn't really stick because it doesn't have any historical connotation.
Once again, it's a spell.
Yeah.
The word weird was used as a spell.
Yeah.
You're not like us.
Mm-hmm.
We're over here and you're over there. You're weird by being over there. Weird how? How am I weird? And you can't really give you a definition. It's just like, oh, you're supposed to be upset because you're not over here with us.
Yeah.
Words are fascinating,
they are.
And I'm a I'm weird. If you haven't noticed, you say like, no, because you can't get a rise out of me. Like all the stuff we went through with the COVID stuff and the job, you can't get a rise out of me because I live by trying to be on code as much as possible. Of the only thing I will not do is lie to myself.
Can you remember the last time someone non-black used the N-word on you?
Let me see. The only time I've had it used on me was in 8th grade. And this is a person that we were friends or acquaintances. We were in gym class and some of his white friends was like, I bet you won't call him this. And yeah. And then I was like, I bet you won't. That kind of thing. Like
8th grade. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was, he said it and then we got to tussling. But I mean, that's the thing. It was, I don't think he really wanted to do it.
Yeah,
he was stuck in that gap.
Right. But that's interesting. So that's 32 years ago, give or take.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so in those 32 years, the worst possible word, the spell of all spells, it's not being used against you.
Yeah.
That can't be. Yeah. This is America. We're the most racist country in the world. How is that possible?
Well, it's reserved for first of all, I don't get into a lot of conflict. That's one thing is that just about me. If stuff is about to go left, I'm out of here. Yeah. I remove myself from situations. I don't put myself. E-Class always tells me that. He's like, if something's going down, you ain't gonna be there. That kind of thing. So
well, because you're smart. It's like, I'm not gonna be part of that nonsense.
I can read the room. I've always been good at that. Mm-hmm. Like even if you're in a party or whatever, the music's going, but I can tell there's a conversation that's escalating. Mm. And I'm the guy like, I'm out of here. I always would drive to parties. I would never ride to parties because I'm like, I want to leave when I want to be able to leave. That kind of thing. So
yeah.
But it's here. I'm gonna tell you how it's racist in America. When they expect you to be the N-word. That's how it's right. And my daughters went through this. When they expected her to be the black friend. The stereotypical black friend, that kind of thing. Because I know it's like my oldest daughter, my other kids not as much, but she started to speak in slang and that kind of, I'm like, you don't talk like that.
Okay,
but her friends wanted her to be the black friend.
Right.
That kind of thing. Like I said, that's where we're in refined racism now. The N-word is only used to, I believe it's only used to try to get people locked up. Like, hit me so, you can call the cops and get you locked up. Mm-hmm. I think that's the purpose of it now because we're so saturated in it as well. I mean that it doesn't hit like it would in the 70s, 80s, even 90s, that kind of thing.
Right.
So, all right, let's get to this last and final piece of advice from Neely Fuller.
See, weird niggas, I mean, no, you don't want them on the plantation or nothing. And see, and ain't nothing more weirder than a black person on his own wavelength. Got his own way of thinking. Doesn't fit in nowhere. What we might call loosely, kind of in his own world. Man, the things that you think he'll react to, he don't react at all. And he come up with some strange things when he starts talking. It's out of nowhere. And very seldom talks about anything unless it pertains to something. That's a weird nigga. You can say anything around him. He just listens and looks at you. Sometimes looks like he's looking through you. So back on the plantation days, they got rid of him. They sold him down the river on the next shipment. They put him off on some other plantation owner. Yeah. Say, well, why did you sell him? You know, I don't know. I just got a bad feeling about it. Say, well, what does he do? He does what the other niggas do. He does what he's told. But there's something strange about him, you know. He's not laughing. He ain't playing the tambourine, you know. He didn't get mad and cry, well, you know, when I talk to him like I did. He just looks at me like he's looking in another world. Last year I had 3 of them like that. I got rid of all of them.
Isn't that, seeing as we've discussed it, certainly at the beginning of the show, we talked about the trauma-based entertainment of Alex Haley's Roots.
Yes.
That was exactly what Toby was like.
Yep, and that was the how can I say it? That was the update. That was a systemware update for that generation of that word.
Yeah, software update. Yeah.
Yeah, that was, okay, we need to, it's time for update. We need to, and we have these, we're going to get to other ones along the way, but I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't cover it in this. Roots was that you're not like us. Mm-hmm. And this is who you were. And this is how we're going to remind you of who you were when we use this word. And it worked because, like I said, my dad and his friends, they went to school fighting the whole week.
When that came out, when the series came out? Oh.
Yes. See, my dad, he's a total different person from me. He's a total, well, like, yeah, he's short on the fuse when that kind of stuff comes around. And I guess that's me. It's like you don't want to be like your parents. You learn from your parents. And I was more like, and I've always been like that. Like, even with my older brother, like with mama jokes, we'd be back in the back of the bus telling jokes, whatever, like that. And whenever somebody went to the mama joke, my brother wanted to fight. I'm just going to get a better mama joke off on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is where we're going, you know, that kind of thing. So I'm not copying Neely Fuller. What I found was, here's another weird one. Yes. You know, like me, you know, like, cause you when you tell people like, that don't upset me. Like, that don't upset you. You don't want to hurt somebody. Like, no, cause I'm the type, if you're going to do something, do it. But like, bust a move. Like, like Bernie Mac say, bust a move, you know, GBG, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is. But if we just going to sit here and bump gums, all right, you say what you said. Cool. But you're not going to touch me. Now let's get that very clear.
That's different.
Yeah. But that's how you have to be with it. Like, you're not going to touch me. You can say what you want to say. Now, here's the gray area. And me and Grump talk about this all the time. When your woman's disrespected.
But you just said it. That's different. It doesn't matter how she's disrespected.
Right. Because, like, you have to go home with her.
Yeah.
And you don't want to lose your standing. You know what I'm saying? But hopefully you're with a woman that's on code too. But like I said, I'm just saying, like, there's times to crash out and times not to crash out. But yeah, so it's just over words. Nah, I'm good. You said what you said. And but me, I can see where it's going left.
But these days we have taken the culture to, and when I say the culture, I mean the general overall culture, to a place where there are many N-words and many things you can't say because Well, that's interesting to think about that way because they, by definition, now are triggering. Use the wrong pronoun. You can trigger someone out in the grocery store.
We're hypersensitive now.
Yeah.
Which that comes from being overstimulated and more trauma-based entertainment.
Yes. But it's still all programming. This is taught programming. Like, pronouns is a great. I mean, I hear kids and parents conversing about pronouns. Of course, it's flipped now. It's no longer the parents saying, "No, now listen, now Johnny, you got to say they or them, just so don't make a mistake." Now it's the kids telling the parents, "Oh no, you can't do that, Dad. It's you got to say they or them, or if you don't know for sure, you got to ask." I mean, it's program. It's come from school, but it's programming that is on the same level, and in a way we're all colored now, one way or the other. There's something that you can say to the other person that will trigger them.
Yes, but here's the thing: who establishes what can be said and what can't be said?
Satan. Hello.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like that's who has the real power. Is who controls, who plugs the words in and says you can say this, you can't say this. This was okay last week. Just like I was once again to go back to the debate. I heard Kamala Harris say. Kamala, how you want to say, even her name, you know what I'm saying, is a trigger. I mean, like, even that.
It is,
is that she said a woman can have a baby, blah, 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 blah. It didn't matter what she was talking about. But I'm like, oh, now you can say a woman.
Yes.
Like, don't you supposed to say birthing person? I mean, like, but see, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is the liquid. What
you sound like Tina sitting on the couch watching that debate. Except she yells it at the TV. It's great.
Because the reason why is the rules are always fluid, but that's meant by design to cause mass confusion. It's like, I can't tell you what a woman is, and you can't say only women, but then when I'm trying to win a general election, I have to use different terminology so I don't turn certain people off.
Right.
And it's this constant calculus going back and forth and back and forth. And it makes people exhausted, but I have to ask, and it's a rhetorical question, who's pulling the levers on all these? This is acceptable. This is not acceptable. For example, the lady that got shot in Chicago, not a peep.
Not much, no.
You follow that? You know what I'm saying? Like 4 years ago, same scenario. Somebody, a colored person gets killed by the cops.
It was elevated. It was elevated. Right. Sure.
So like who is making these decisions of when is something reporting, and when you use logic, it kind of it unravels, what they're trying to do, because it's like, no, that doesn't make sense. That's not logical.
Well, this is a core question, a very core question, and we don't have to try and answer it right here. But I know for sure there's not some group of dudes sitting on, stroking their beards, and they got the white cat. Let's make this the one. It doesn't work like that. It's when it behooves, I think you've mentioned this, when it behooves multiple groups at the same time, then they converge, and then it becomes the thing. And the woman in Chicago, it wasn't the thing. It didn't benefit enough groups.
Right.
Enough of the dark forces to go and turn it into the thing. It could have easily done that. I mean, I think you and I were kind of waiting for it. Like, oh, this is going to happen. It's going to happen. And it didn't happen because it didn't behoove enough groups at the same time.
And it would have been blowback because Kamala, however you want to say it, identifies as law enforcement now.
Yeah. Yes.
You see what's going on? And I disagree with you respectfully to say there is somebody or a group of people saying, nah, it's political calculus. Like, no, we can't touch that because then they might draw the link between her being a part of the law enforcement apparatus, and that could be negative to us. And this is how they sit back and, like I said, those levers is now we can't. Oh, that's a good one, but we can't take because if we take that one, then they can counter with this. It's like chess, I could take that piece, but what's the effect's going to be 5, 6, 7 moves down the board? If I take that piece.
Yeah, I'll agree with you in that case because of the DNC and the messages they wanted to send. In this case, yes, it was not politically the right motivation. I think all the other groups were in play and could have taken the ball and run with it if the signal was given. But by the same token, if one of these other groups had made it a real issue and it wasn't in Illinois / Chicago where people are killed 10, 20 a weekend. So I think there's an apathy like okay, whatever, it wasn't the thing.
That's part of it too, but even the same thing with the supposed riots that were supposed to happen at the DNC that
didn't happen. No, didn't happen.
It's like, whatever. I mean, I'm sure there's some concessions made to make people stand down, but let's get back on the clip list. And like I said, but it's all pertinent to what we're talking about. But this is the official narrative of the history of the N-word. And I believe this is from, I want to say PBS, but no, Washington Post. That's who it was. Washington Post, number 10.
At its root, the word is Niger, the Latin word for black. But as soon as enslaved Africans were brought to these shores, the word, pronounced with various accents and emphasis, was used to depict them not just as something derogatory, but as something not quite evolved from ape to human being. By examining this one word, we get an understanding of not only who we are, but who we have been and who we might become. For this two-syllable word and its evolution reveals much about American society.
There is some risk in attempting to isolate the idea of contemporary culture and comparing and contrasting it to early American culture. For me, it's an artificial distinction. I think it's more useful to look at this word and its usage as part of a seamless strand, really a seamless narrative that runs from before the beginning of the country to where we are now.
In 1619, settlers in Jamestown were already using the word to describe the enslaved blacks.
You will find that British redcoats, and this is well documented, used the N-word when they taunted the Revolutionary Army because the idea was you're so weak you have to use niggers to bolster your troops.
Oh, it's the British.
The Yankees. Once again.
That's interesting.
And just to go back, we were talking about the origin of this show. This is why the A was important and why I contacted you. Like, no, the A, and people want us to be ashamed of being identified as American, but we have a unique existence.
That's for sure.
We have and this word, I would say, is very American. Now, I'm sure it's used other places, but and I might be wrong, you know what I'm saying? But I think this word is very American in nature.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just saying, like, that go to show you, like, even when you were saying DOS, it's like, no, I mean, not. What impressed me about it is you were on DOS early, like early before even any of this lineage talk was talked about. And I was like, he's headed down the right path, but let me just add the A to it. And you were spot on. You were like, you were on it. Like, I think this group over here is like, kind of don't, want to be identified as his own thing.
Right.
Yeah. So we've been here and we're not going anywhere. I hope people understand that. We're not going anywhere. We've been here. And you seen even before here was a here, we were here.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's just kind of, that's a rub to me, is like we're visitors or something. No. And that's why we feel so, and just to speak for a group for a minute, so disrespected that the red carpet is rolled out for all these other groups of people even though, and this is where I wrestle with myself on, they are victims of white supremacy, the system of white supremacy as well. But it's like when we're talking about addressing needs, my people have specific needs that be addressed. If you got it, you know what I'm saying? It's like if you promise to take your kids somewhere, right? And it's probably a bad analogy, but the first one you promised, that's the one you're supposed to take first. You know what I'm saying? You honor your debts in the order you made them. That kind of thing, you know, but it's like I said, it's just like that's a tangent for me. It's like, bro, we American. You know, American is just as much as us. We are American.
Here's what I learned this summer is just how poorly understood our history is. You know, and of course the history belongs to the victor. But our schooling system has done such an injustice to all of American history. You know, we went to Plymouth, and people go to Plymouth. Oh, let's go see that rock. You know, but it turns out that rock, you know, some 95 years after the Pilgrims landed, some dude said, "Oh yeah, I think that was the rock," and then, let's build a thing around the rock. But the monument to the forefathers, you never hear about that, which is an amazing. It's like the children of Israel, you know, stacked the pebbles, the stones. Like this is the real Georgia Guidestone of America. And similarly, the relationship between African descendants of slavery throughout time has been very poorly reported. Slavery has been poorly reported. Throughout the world, it's been poorly reported.
But here's the difference, and just to point it out. We have no history but America. Everything pre-America was robbed, stolen, you know, erased from our hard drive. We were reformatted just to use just to continue with. Yeah. So, like, only thing we understand, only thing we know is America. So, honestly, we're the purest Americans there are, if you really think about it, because there's nothing struggling against that American identity. Like, when people come here from other countries, their home country is struggling with their American identity. We have nothing wrestling with that American identity.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So I'm just saying, like, I mean, like, I just want to, like, I don't know, like, hey, nobody gonna knock us out of our spot. But number 11.
But it wasn't just the Klan that used the term. The N-word permeated almost every aspect.
Oh, we just jumped to the Klan from 1619?
Of course.
Whoa, all right. We're at the Klan now.
But it wasn't just the Klan that used the term. The N-word permeated almost every aspect of pop culture and daily life, as if it had arisen from the national groundwater.
And then when you look at the best-selling songs of the 1920s and 30s, equivalent of the Billboard's Hot 100, we might say. Today, we're looking at songs that not only use nigger throughout the lyrics, but have nigger in the title. At the same time, I like to say you could stand in your kitchen during this period and you could do a slow 360 turn, and everywhere you turn, your eyes would land on the word nigger. From your stove polish to the trade names for your fruits and vegetables, to the penny bank that your child has, to the board games that your child plays with, to the card games that the adults play in the parlor next to the piano with the nigger songster sitting on it.
Wow. Yeah.
And that's less than 100 years ago.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, but at the same time, this is what I'm saying about our identity. It, you know, is baked into American history. But I'll continue. Once again, like I said, this is the Washington Post narrative of the history of the word. You were going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. And then all of a sudden, you took me back to Washington Post. It'll come back to me. Let's get into the next clip, and then maybe it'll come back to me.
The reigning heavyweight boxing champion of the world, Muhammad Ali, refused to serve in the war in Vietnam. His reasoning set off a national firestorm.
And shoot them for what? They never called me nigger. They never lynched me. They never put no dogs on me. They never robbed me of my nationality, raped and killed my mother and father. What, I'm going to shoot them for what?
The hopes and dreams of this movement led to a brash new message. Black was beautiful, baby, and you could say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. You could see this new sensibility in the blaxploitation films of the early 1970s. Black anti-heroes began to embrace a bold new identity, not by disavowing the N-word, but by claiming it as their own.
It's the American dream, nigga.
But blaxploitation flicks appeal mainly to black audiences. It took Richard Pryor, a skinny comedian from Peoria, Illinois, to shoot to crossover success with a ribald routine that emphasized the use of profanity, especially the N-word.
Spade! Hunky! Nigger! Dead hunky!
Yeah, we discussed blaxploitation. Do you remember what episode that was on?
I do not, but that was when we covered the rioting in the theaters.
Yeah, and people should, just a reminder that, if you're just listening to episode 100, go back to 1. Do it over your winter break. You won't be disappointed. Are you on a path to, do you think that one of the main solutions for empowerment of ADOS, do you think that would be for everyone to just go on code like, no, it just doesn't bother me? Because I think that's part of what the blaxploitation was doing, was owning the word. But it's still, it's like owning the spell. It's not going to remove the spell. You just temporarily hold it. But do you think that if ADOS just said, no, we're just not going to be bothered by that, and everybody could actually do it, I don't think that's possible. It might be.
Well, what the code calls for, and if you read the book, for any people, it's the United Independent Compensatory Code. So it's not about groups, none of that. It's about your individual actions. It's an individual code. This is why it works for me. It calls me to go to no rallies, no groups, no nothing. It's two things. Everything I do needs to be constructive. That's the first thing. And then the second thing is in the pursuance of justice, which is two things. One is nobody's mistreated. And two, whoever needs the most help gets the most constructive help. And that is not communism, because we're talking about the individual. If you can help somebody, somebody that needs help, and you can give that help them.
In fact, the good book says you should give them, if they ask for your shirt, you should give them your coat and your trousers and everything else.
And that's an independent choice. This is why I think people hear certain keywords like justice. Oh, he must be no justice, no peace, and that kind. No. In your individual daily life, are you mistreating someone? Are you creating an environment or sustaining an environment where a person can be mistreated? If you are, change it.
It would be so cool if you could reprogram everybody. If someone calls you the N-word, you just bust out a James Brown. You just do the splits. That would be a much better response.
That wouldn't be constructive.
It would be entertaining. People would be like, what just happened?
And before we continue on, am I Borging?
No, you're fine.
Okay, because it sounds like I'm Borging. I just want to make sure we don't get down the road.
No. I would let you know. You're good.
Okay, so, but yeah, that's the thing. Is just that don't, even with looking at a person when they say that to you, what is your next action? Is it constructive?
Right.
I'm going to look at you and just like, okay, like you said what you said. What do you think? I'm going to do something not constructive? No. Am I going to mistreat you? No. You know what I'm saying? Because the natural reaction that's been implanted in us is, oh, you're supposed to get violent. That kind of thing. If somebody said that to you, you're supposed to haul off and knock them down, you know what I'm saying, and do something to them.
Yeah, but that's just perpetuating everything. Just it's the wrong direction.
Not even you're feeding right into what the trap is. It's like, here's a piece of cheese. Like, are you not going to take it? I know, because I know it's a metal bar going to come down across my neck. You know what I'm saying? If I take the cheese, I know I've seen you lay the trap. That kind of thing. And like I said, that's that's the thing is these actions, and that's why I said this works for everybody. This is not just because it's for however you're being mistreated, or you're mistreating someone, or if you need something, or you can give somebody help on the individual. And this thing, if the individual does this, then the collective. No communism. I had to say that because people are so with words, they hear those words, the whole group changes. And then what happens is that you're in the mistreating people. That's weird. I said it on purpose. You're not into helping people when you can. That's weird. You're not like us. You see how that works? You see how that changes? Like, changes the whole dynamic. And that's been my whole goal, is to take a person's marginalized work who is nearly, that's why I dedicated a whole episode to him, because I understand what they did to him, which I'm accepting the likelihood is going to happen to me. If you're constructive, you're going to get marginalized.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't get the wet work, you know what I'm saying? But at best, you're going to be marginalized, and they're going to push you off to the side. I'm like, we're going to ignore that because we don't want to hear the masses hear that, because we're in the business of confusing and mistreating people.
Yes. The N-word is a special case all by its own, but ageism, all kinds of different things it is the biggest, it's the oldest troll in the book with an intended known outcome.
Right. And we all have that. That's what I'm saying. This is just a representative. This is just a totem of everybody. Everybody has a cross to bear. And they're ashamed that even white supremacists have a cross to bear. Where do you think all that insecurity comes from? Why do you think they got to be such control freaks? It's something there. There's a there deep inside.
Oh, it's
why they had to feel
guilt.
That way.
Sin and guilt is what it's all based on.
Well, I think it's fear more than anything. They fear whatever it is. I don't know what we've talked about it, what they might fear, but
well, how about this? They fear because they are a relatively seen, very small group.
Yeah, but nobody wants to do anything to you. That's the thing. Is like, from my standpoint of being not mistreating people. It's like, I can only speak for me. I don't want to harm you. I understand your plight. Like I said, I understand your plight because ADOS, we have the same thing on in America. We're 13% of the population. We don't want to get erased by just being flat black. We want to have our own identity. We get it. We understand. So that's what I'm saying. Like you got to let go of that fear, whatever that is. And I'm just saying that's to everybody. That's the area you have to let go of that fear and be constructive, not destructive. But that's all I heard. All I heard last night was two people talking about how much they could blow up stuff. What are we doing here?
Yeah,
we live in the best time in society ever. I mean, like, we're on the cusp of being able to solve a lot of problems if we don't have this manufactured competition.
And that's exactly it. The people are so trained to have a certain type of show business presentation that this didn't match it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't match the expectations of a show business oriented culture. It's like, well, what is this? This is no good. This. We want you to, strike her back. Say this, say that. Don't say that. It's like no, you're jabbing wrong. You're doing it all wrong. You're doing it all wrong.
Even with this show here, I mean, that is a microcosm of that. We're supposed to be at each other's throats, and you know what? That kind. No, we left the offense at the door. You know what I'm saying? Like, you say what you say, I say what I say.
Yeah.
You agree with me sometimes. I agree with you sometimes. Other times we disagree. But you know what? We've never mistreated each other.
No. Not yet.
You know what I'm saying?
It's 5 years, and we got 5 more to go as friends. You never know.
Right. So I'm just saying, but I don't think that's in our core programming. Is it's to mistreat people. So, but and like I said, the last point. Let's go ahead and get to the last point, and then we can just go right into 14 because this. I'll just foreshadow a little bit. This gets into coming from Richard Pryor to hip hop. 13.
By the time Ronald Reagan was elected, Pryor had disavowed use of the term. But a new generation was taking the reins of pop culture. Everything was new, raw, and angry. The most visceral film of the late 1980s was Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, anchored by its profane, racist rant montage.
Dago Wab, Guinea, garlic bread, pizza slinging, spaghetti bending, victim on, Perry Como, Luciano Pavarotti.
Fried chicken and biscuit eating, monkey ate baboon, big guy, fast running. Take your fucking pizza and go the fuck back to Africa.
At the same time, hip-hop and rap storytelling gave new voice to young black Americans. On the West Coast, a group of young rappers called themselves NWA, Niggas with Attitude, and their first underground album, Straight Outta Compton, featured 46 uses of the N-word. 3 years later, their album Niggas for Life featured 185 uses of the word and went to the top of the charts. The word gained new currency in popular culture.
Yeah, that was an interesting time at very white MTV.
Which we talked about NWA.
Mm-hmm.
And we see in hindsight how the members have been this supposed threat to American society. Now we got one guy speaking in presidential elections, having a substantial voice. And then the next one is the first billionaire of hip hop and has ties to one of the biggest companies, if not the biggest company in the world, being Apple with Dr. Dre, So who were they? But we're not going down that rabbit. But it's just, this is when the N-word went mainstream.
Yes.
Because before, like you said, they were on black exploitation movies, which was really very localized. I wasn't alive then, but I'm assuming okay, you can fill me in on this. How did movies work pre-VCR? Because I grew up with VCR. So, I mean, because that's when you had home libraries and movies. And if you wanted to see something, you went to the local VHS store or video store. How did that work with movie? Did you have B-rate movie theaters that showed less popular movies? How did that work?
That's a good question. I think that you had movie theaters that just had, certainly the movie, usually on an off night, not a popular night, they would show something that might be different.
Okay, I was just wondering, because I grew up from the
right, but the mall. I mean, basically, you had the mall.
Right.
And the mall had the movieplex, and you had, maybe 5, 10, 15 theaters. And if anything, it was, we couldn't get in to see that one. So we went to see that one. So,
yeah, I was just asking for figuring out how media was disseminated at that time, because we had the VCR. I was born in 80. So by 86, everything we wanted to see, we could get a hold of on and watch it in the home. Yeah. So I was just curious from that side of it. Yeah.
Well, and then after that, of course, around that time, you say 86. No, earlier than that, because VCRs had come out pretty early, and I remember that someone would have a tape, and it would be let's all go to his house and watch Cheech and Chong. It would be like a mini theater. And
right.
And of course, Faces of Death was the main one. Talking about your B movies, that would be the one he's got a copy of it. So I think it moved pretty quickly, and there was a lot of bootlegs, Mo. That was the big thing back in the day.
Oh yeah, and that was a big thing in the 90s too. of like movies actually in the theater.
Yeah,
like somebody would take a
somebody with a camcorder and just saying like, "Oh, this is great," crappy sound, but it was it was all right. We could do it. It was good enough.
Okay, yeah. The only reason I was asking, because I was going back to like the N-word going mainstream, is because in the 90s, that's when hip hop came about. But in the 70s, even blaxploitation films, even Richard Pryor, that was, I guess you had to buy his records or whatever. Like you weren't seeing it on television.
Right.
So that was the only point I was trying to make. But fast forward, now here comes hip hop. And the Boule was not happy with it. So now these are clips from 2007. So it's big chunks going on from like the 80s all the way to 2007. And it's amazing the timing of it that they tried to kill the N-word.
The hour, a funeral for the N-word. Today at the 98th annual convention of the NAACP in Detroit, African-American leaders, intellectuals, and rap artists will join together for a symbolic burial of the N-word. Will it make a difference? Joining us now from Washington is Dr. Michael Eric Dyson of Georgetown University. He is the author of Know What I Mean, Reflections on Hip-Hop. Also joining us from Chicago is CNN contributor Roland Martin. He's the host of the Roland Martin Radio Show. And by the way, the segment's being simulcast right now on WVON Radio. Roland, let me start with you. Why is this taking place now?
Well, because, we've had lots of discussion about it, of course, out of the Don Imus situation in terms of what words you can and cannot say. And so it's a raising of the consciousness of African Americans in terms of the use of the word, finding it offensive. When I ran the Chicago Defender as executive editor, I put it on our front page saying that it's time for African Americans to make a decision. Either we say it is an acceptable word or we say it is not. But you have to make a decision because some find it offensive while others say, hey, it's a term of endearment. I disagree. I find it offensive, and I personally stopped using it.
Oh man, I've forgotten that Roland Martin goes back that far.
Yeah,
I forgot all about that.
This is Pete Boule for him. Like this is him and Michael Eric Dyson. This is when they were the cat's meow of the Boule.
And this was back when Imus was alive. And
2007.
And I think I remember that when Imus said, he might have said the N-word. He had a very popular morning show.
Said nappy headed hoes is what he said.
Nappy headed hoes. You're right. Yeah. You're right.
But this is when they were doing the cleanup pre-Obama. This is when Chappelle got leaned on.
When he ran away.
Possibly literally, you were saying leaned on.
We don't know if it's the real Dave who's back, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, because they was like anything that was derogatory to the black image, they were doing cleanup. So this was the timing of what was going on at the time, and they were trying to give a live burial to the N-word. And you had on one side Roland Martin, and on the other side you have Michael Eric Dyson, who's going to speak in the next clip.
Dr. Dyson, what are your views on the word, and is this symbolic burial a good idea?
Well, I think that it may be a good idea for white America. I think white America or other non-black people certainly should bury the use of that particular nefarious term that has been odious and offensive throughout the history. But I think that for African American people, the use of that term has sometimes been, yes, as a term of endearment. I know Mr. Martin disagrees with that, but having used the word myself and he having used it, as he said himself, and stopped using it, obviously one of the uses was a term of endearment, a term of love, a term of circulating brotherhood. It also can be something that's negative. My point is that you can't legislate the use of the word itself to deal with the realities that the word underscores. So that lynching is much worse than the use of the word. I'm not saying that the word is used by white people is not offensive. It is. I'm saying, but African-American rappers or other people who deploy that term are not necessarily signifying hatred. They're signifying love. They're saying, I'm not going to let you determine my life by the use of a word over which I have no control.
He doesn't
still can pack those words in.
He doesn't talk like that anymore.
No.
Interesting.
And, right. Because it's a lot of words he would, even to, remember he lost it when the guy was it a guy or a lady that were saying Kamala?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, it's Kamala.
No, it's Kamala. And you're disrespecting the sister.
Yeah. So, I mean, just telling you how far he's gone off the rails. And he used to be the voice of reason, less than 20 years ago. Not even reason, but like the voice of I'd say the more liberal side of the boule.
But he got made. They reeled him in even further. Listen, man, you got the stature, but you got to do a little more here.
Oh yeah, he definitely had to do a little more. So okay, this is the final part of this the funeral.
But growing up, my dad didn't call me that. My mom didn't call me that. They called me Roland. And so I reached a point where, again, it was so much a part of hearing it, it became accepted. And I reached a point where I said, wait a minute, this is not a word that I should accept. Even if somebody said, hey, that's my man, that's my boy. I really use those phrases than frankly saying that's my nigga. It's just not a term of endearment.
But for Roland, for you, that's absolutely fine. I'm not suggesting that that's not a prerogative you exercise, but to suggest that's a universal term that everybody has to subscribe to would be different. I think that if you feel that way, that's fine, but there are many other African American people, which is why it shows you that the bearing of the N-word will not be effective. There will be some. Martin Luther King Jr., the night he was killed, said to Andrew Young, little nigga, where you been? He used it as a term of endearment. Now, there's a difference because rap music has now made it accessible to the world because of its circulation throughout the country and indeed throughout the globe. But the point is to have I think a reductive and narrow and simplistic understanding of that term misses the use of it by history and suggests to us that white people exercise the control over our lives that we don't have. Don Imus cannot be the leader of Black America. Let's, within our own ranks, suggest that there are differences and complexities and nuances that we should respect and acknowledge on both sides.
Okay, so if I understand here, this was the boule saying we still need this control over the non-boule.
No, that's their job.
Yes, and probably NWA was part of the problem.
Yes, because NWA have been, not even NWA was part of the problem.
Hip hop
for 20 years, gangster rap had festered.
Yes,
and I'm using that word appropriately.
Yeah,
and it had at this point it had grown to be the largest portion of hip hop. See, gangster rap used to be just a segment of greater hip hop. Yeah. But we're talking about 2007, so that's when peak 50 Cents, all of that was going, Jeezy, 50 Cents, all those guys.
Yeah.
So now it's like, hold on, we got too much, and we can't lose the fact that they're trying to push Obama.
Yeah.
In 2007, this is the year before he got elected, so they were trying to clean up any negative Black stereotypes, words, whatever else, out of the way to make the the path clear for Obama. One more thing, Roland Martin said we can call each other boy, which that's very similar to the N-word.
Yeah,
and if it's said intra-racially, it's not offensive. Where it can be. It's just the, how was the tone of it.
Oh, definitely.
Right. But if it's said interracially, automatic, even if somebody says it that's my boy, but it's intraracially, it's like you kind of get a side eye, that kind of thing. And I've even played on the show where people would say it and they didn't mean it like that, but then they would go back and either change it, that's how they said it the next time, or self-censor. So one last point I want to make is my dad. It's funny that my dad had the hugest issue with homeboy and homie.
Huh.
Yeah. Cause what do y'all mean homeboy or boy? Cause that's like when no. And homie, cause that was close to homo. He's like, what y'all running around here calling each other homie? Yo, homie. You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that mean? Cause just to give a perspective, like his issue wasn't the N-word. Cause he would drop it every once in a while. You know what I'm saying? And the one you would hear the most is prefaced by crazy ass. You know what I'm saying? That, then the N-word. You know what I'm saying? So that's how older people use it. So
it's interesting because amongst white guys, to this day, will still say, "That's me. He's my boy." We can say that amongst each other, and of course, you know where it comes from. But it's a total term of endearment. And I think I probably still have friends who will still say, "Hey, how you doing, homie?" They'll still say that amongst white men, amongst each other.
Yeah, because it came out of homeboy and hip hop into the popular culture. But Yeah. So I mean, it's just weird how these words, and and you can follow the trail back to where they came from.
I'm still blown away by hearing Dyson and Martin. I was like, these are two different guys from who they are today.
And the weird.
I know it's hard. It's hard not to use the W word.
And you know why? You know who I got it from?
Dvorak.
My kids. No, my kids.
Really?
Oh man, they use it all the time. I mean, like it's kind of like it's a word that has so many different meanings.
Yeah.
But it's like how you used it, and especially when they're having conversations with each other, they can say it like and they have 4 different meanings depending on how it's said and when it's said.
Yeah, of course.
But I was saying before that is we saw a similar thing with redneck around this time with Jeff Foxworthy.
Yep.
When you saw the embracing of the term redneck, because redneck used to be a derogatory
Very derogatory.
term.
Yeah.
But it had a similar path as the N-word, that where people either self-proclaim to be a redneck or self-identify to be a redneck.
To this day, I had my boy Mike, who did our shower. I said, tell me where you come from. He says, I'm just a redneck hillbilly. All right. I know exactly what you mean.
Right. But if somebody would call him that, like I said,
probably bop him in the face.
Yeah, exactly. So words are so amazing of how the power they wield when they're used. But here is now because the funeral happened in Detroit, 2007. And 2007 was the first hip hop politician. Kwame Kilpatrick, you remember him?
Kwame sounds familiar.
Big guy, big football player looking guy with the beard.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. He got in trouble because the boule, and he was part of it, was trying to kill the word, and then he ends up using it.
Last summer in Detroit, a funeral was staged for the N-word. Black leaders symbolically buried the epithet during a national convention of the NAACP. The mayor of Detroit, Kwame Kilpatrick, gave a eulogy.
We're taking this out of our spirit. We're taking it out of our being. We're taking it out of our minds. Today, we burying it dead.
But during his State of the City address, carried live on local television and radio, he said this.
In the past 30 days, I've been called more than any time in my entire life. In the past 3 days, I've received more death threats than I have in my entire administration.
The mayor's use of the word is being criticized by local civil rights leaders, saying he used the wrong forum and the wrong word for his outburst.
Oh, no! Oh.
Now, here's a black man getting in trouble for using the N-word.
Yeah, can't do that.
So this is what we're talking about before of these levers. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't say that now, even though you're black, and he's only saying that he's being called this. And this is when he got into some campaign trouble, and he was in an affair, and then there was allegedly, and I say that very strongly, allegedly a dead stripper that came up. You know,
it's their favorite.
Yeah,
dead stripper, dead hooker better, but dead stripper always a winner.
Which I'm wondering, like, how did that person get there? If they were was that a leveraging thing? But he went to jail. And I think also he was moved out of the way for Obama because he was on track. If you said, okay, who will be the next black presidential candidate?
Well,
it would have probably been 10 years from then, but you could easily see him.
We all know it was supposed to be Blowfly.
Who's that?
Oh, my God. Wait a minute. I throw out a reference and you don't know Blowfly?
No.
Blowfly, the first black president? Mo. Do you mind if I play you a little bit of Blowfly?
Please.
Okay.
Please.
Blowfly. First black, I don't know what the date is. It has to be early 80s, 1983.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing the first the first black president.
You remember it now, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry to throw you off track.
No, it fit perfect. You know what I'm saying? Because
we played that song over and over and over again. It was hilarious.
That was it fit perfect into what we're doing here. So, but yeah, this is Kwame Kilpatrick. I think we stopped at.
Yeah, we're at 18.
Okay, let's go ahead and get into 18.
That outburst was in response to a scandal over sexually explicit text messages sent to a former top aide and possible perjury charges from testimony during a whistleblower's trial. All of it subjected the mayor to withering criticism in the press and public.
We've never been in a situation like this before, where you can say anything, do anything, have no facts, no research, no nothing, and you can launch a hate-driven, bigoted assault on a family.
Later, Kilpatrick's spokeswoman said the mayor used the word as an example of how hurtful it can be. The N-word has been used as a slur against blacks for more than a century, but it is also used by blacks when referring to each other. National black leaders have called for its use to end.
Clear it up.
So now we have to get into the history of the N-word. And people might say, Mo, ain't that what you've been doing for the last 20 clips?
No.
Get into the history of the N-word?
We're going to talk about the contraction, the actual phrase N-word, I presume.
The actual phrase N-word 19.
And most importantly, non-black people would still be casually saying without OJ. Technically, we should thank this guy. That's Chris Darden, the black man tasked with prosecuting OJ for the 1994 murder of Nicole Simpson and Ronald Goldman. Chris Darden may be the most unlucky man in the history of American jurisprudence, but he should also be recognized as an unsung hero in meaningfully changing racial discourse forever. It's no secret that the OJ trial, known as the trial of the century, stopped being about OJ at some point in the legal proceedings. Whether intentionally or by chance, OJ's trial became a proxy for the never-ending, eternal debate on race in America.
63% of whites feel that O.J. Simpson can get a fair trial, while 61% of blacks say he cannot. Has race now taken center stage as we continue dissecting this courtroom drama?
And through the course of the trial, it became explicitly about the word nigger. There's a specific moment when this happened. It was when O.J.'s legal team discovered that the lead detective in the case, Mark Furman, routinely used the word nigger to describe black people.
And you say on your oath that you have not addressed any black person as a nigger or spoken about black people as niggers in the past 10 years, Detective Furman.
That's what I'm saying, sir.
And that there were recordings of him doing so while bragging about brutalizing black people.
You were trying to find a bruise on a nigger? So you saw it.
Yep. I remember it well.
So you were
in New York. I was in New York City.
Which O.J. Simpson, you talking about weird Negro? If you open up the dictionary and you want to have a picture beside that term, it has to be O.J. Simpson. Because is he trolling? Oh well, he's dead now. But was he trolling or was he that oblivious to not know how certain things, even like I said, interracially and interracially. You know, the not to trigger people with the OJ stuff, but like the scary movie thing with the banana and just if I'd have did it, this how I would have done it kind of thing. It's like, do you know OJ, like how that's coming across? Are you post racial? I got to this day, I don't know if OJ was trolling the whole time or was he just like, I'm bigger than all of this, which would actually make him weird by the definition of Neely Fuller gave, right? It just, I'm telling you, like I've watched many of OJ, and just for people, you're probably gonna get mad at me. I don't think OJ did it. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Did he have somebody do it? Maybe. Could it have been some associates of the people that were heinously deleted? To use a word like, here we go with the changing the language, right? I did that purposely.
Unalived,
yeah, deleted, that kind of thing. So even the fact that you can't even talk about it this many years later without evoking emotions is amazing. And the N-word actual term came out of this. I mean, what like, you want to give some context to it? Or
yeah, I can just give you my experience at the time. Yes, he came across as a hubris-filled celebrity, regardless of race. But I can tell you that everybody I was around was really hoping that he would not get convicted. Like, oh God, please. Because it became about race.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it became about. And, I think the fear that it would just erupt in race riots everywhere was very real.
And for context, the reason why I think you're saying that, and correct me if I'm wrong, is what happened after Rodney King, right?
Yes.
In LA. Just for people that may not know what it's funny because we have an understanding because we know what was the context of that, but maybe they didn't know. In, I think, 92, 93, after the Rodney King verdict, LA burned?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So I can see it from your standpoint of, let's just not repeat that. And I can see, just seek first to understand to be understood, I can see how people thought that's why he got off, because LA, like, we don't need this. We can double back and get him another way, but we just kick this can down the road, which I can see that scenario playing out as well.
There was a lot going on with that trial. Marcia Clark. I mean, it was really, for all intents and purposes, it was one of the biggest celebrity televised trials. Almost not even Michael Jackson didn't overshadow it. Because remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
When they went to cancel Mike, it was just everybody just
because of race.
Yeah, but I think it was really the people just that because we had the Rodney King riots. Everybody just didn't want it. It's like, please, we just don't want it. And then when the glove didn't fit, so you must have quit. It was like everyone. Oh, okay. Well, we're not quite sure exactly how, but the glove didn't fit, so you must have quit. Please get it over with. People were afraid and tired of what could happen, and it was completely race based.
And just let's go all the way there. OJ being accused of what he did would be the ultimate N-word.
Yes.
And I mean that literally, because that's the fear. A big black buck killing an attractive blonde white woman.
It had all the elements, all of them.
That. I mean, even Michael Jackson with the kid, even though he was kind of black, I mean, like in appearance.
Not really anymore.
Yeah, not racially, but in appearance. Yeah. And then kid, that was bad. That was terrible. But this fed in to the stereotypical situation of a N-word, and the biggest fears of that, of, like I said, and her being blonde and attractive. If OJ wife was Mexican or Latina or Asian or black, it wouldn't have been the biggest story.
Agreed.
The fact that, like I said, she was an attractive white woman. And here's the other part that nobody wants to talk about: Ronald Goldman being Jewish. Right. This is why the media went in on OJ.
Yeah.
With all the ink. I'm just saying, if we're gonna tell it, we're gonna tell it all the way. This is why the media was stacked up against OJ, because he was accused of killing a Jewish man and an attractive white woman.
But what was what was really interesting, Mo, is the feeling was it was not about the people anymore. It wasn't about the people.
It wasn't about OJ.
No,
it wasn't about OJ. It wasn't about the victims. It was about who's going to win the race game.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was.
And we saw it play out on X, Twitter, just less than a year ago when he died. The same people that were saying OJ did it, it was the strangest thing, because go back to current times and when OJ trial happened, the majority of black people say he didn't do it. That was because of the race game, but a lot of people didn't think he did it because I'm just like how the logistics of it work, but here nor there. Then the OJ story came out, the miniseries with Cuba Gooding Jr. And then the narrative started to change amongst black people when we covered this. And I'm talking about the media mind control. Now black people started saying, well, maybe he did do it or he did do it, that kind of thing. But since we went through George Floyd and everything like that, now when he died, let's play the race game again. And we're going to take OJ back. When I say we, I'm talking not me, but black people. We're gonna circle the wagons around OJ, even though we thought he was guilty, and even though we didn't think he was black, he was OJ. We're gonna circle the wagons on him.
There's one difference, and that's the context, is we didn't have any other media than mainstream media. Mm-hmm. So you were either listening to, well, if you weren't listening to music, just from New York, if you weren't listening to Z100 or PLJ or Kiss FM for music, you were listening to Howard Stern, you were listening to Imus. I think probably a lot of people listen to Imus. And the media, well, we had CNN, who had basically nonstop coverage. But you would wait for the latest report, or you come home like, what happened to the OJ trial, and there was no social media, so it was very. I think people have much more feel of, like you just said, of control. When we can post stuff, we can say stuff, we can band together, we can repost, we can do all these things. There was none of that. It was a frustration. And you're just hanging on, and even the reporting, like, don't say it like that. It was a very, very different media landscape, and you felt like you did not have control. And it feels like we have more control now. We don't necessarily, but it feels like we have more control.
Yeah, because everybody has a platform.
Yeah, which makes you feel good personally.
Yes,
like I said it. I did it.
I got it off my chest.
Yeah. I see you doing that all the time on Twitter, Mo.
Oh, yeah.
I see you.
Yeah. Well, my thing on X is like this, is that I try to make people think about stuff and not be binary. It's like, are you really being objective? My thing is like an objective check. Is that, are you really being objective? So that's my
always good for a retweet from me. Always good for a like and a retweet from me.
That's my contribution to the world. Is like, are you really being objective? Because that's what we need to be, is objective.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into this last clip from OJ and how Christopher Darden pulled it off.
As you can imagine, doubt was immediately cast on whether or not the crime scene evidence that he discovered could be trusted. Questions swirled about whether or not he planted the now infamous glove to frame a successful black man. People wondered if the LAPD, notoriously cruel toward the black community, could even be trusted to carry out a fair assessment of the accused multi-hyphenate entertainer. OJ's defense made such a big deal out of this blockbuster revelation that the entire case became about these tapes, and by extension, the word nigger. As you can imagine, the prosecution hated this angle.
But I'm so offended by those remarks, I would rather not stand at the same podium at which he stood a few moments ago. The issue here is whether this defendant killed Nicole Brown or Ron Goldman or not. The issue here isn't my ethics. The issue here isn't racism. The issue here isn't Detective Furman. This case is a circus, and they've made it a circus.
The defense, led by Johnny Cochran, was seizing control of the narrative by centering one of the bloodiest words in American history. The prosecution was going to have to convince a majority black jury to trust the integrity of their star witness, Mark Furman, after hearing him commit the cardinal sin of racism and break the nigger rule of 1968. If you've never heard of that rule, that's okay. I made it up. Okay, I didn't make it up. I just made up the name, but it's real.
Where was that from? What is that clip
That's
from?
a YouTuber that put that together. I didn't get his name. I'll try to get after the show. But yeah, he did a great breakdown of the OJ trial. That was what was that?
That was 20. Yeah, we got one last one here.
Okay, so I guess let's go and get to 21.
The rule is simple. After the year 1968, the word nigger is to be avoided, only permissible when quoting someone else. This rule is pretty intuitive, but Republican political strategist Lee Atwater gives it some helpful context in what are known as the Southern Strategy tapes. Yes, I know, another set of tapes, but bear with me. This political strategy was designed to help Republicans capitalize on the racial hostility of Southern white people after the Civil Rights Movement. Here, I'll let Lee Atwater explain it himself.
You start out in 1954 by saying nigger, nigger, nigger. By 1968, you can't say nigger. That hurts you, backfires. So you say stuff like force busing, states' rights, and all that stuff. And you're getting so abstract now, you're talking about cutting taxes, and all of these things you're talking about are totally economic things, and the byproduct of them is blacks get hurt worse than whites.
Back to OJ's trial. Johnny Cochran's plan to introduce these nigger tapes into the trial would make the word a constant part of the courtroom discourse. I'd like to imagine that Chris Darden couldn't abide such a possibility. He later stated how much he hated the word and wouldn't allow it to be said in his own home. And so he refused to say it in the courtroom, instead creating the now ubiquitous euphemism for the word nigger, N-word.
There it is.
So that's how N-word came about. And just for a little bit of clarity, now you see where dog whistles come from.
Yeah.
With what was mentioned in the beginning of the clip with lower taxes, all these different terms. When you hear people say, "Oh, that's
states' rights,"
that's a big one. That's a big one right there. So you see, it has some basis. Even though people might actually literally be talking about lower taxes, when you have that kind of clip that you can play, people can spin it any kind of way. But like, oh, that was a dog whistle. That's when you said that, you didn't really mean lower taxes. You meant hurting black people. You know, that kind of thing. So I just wanted to add that into the word war. So, but yeah, that's how the N-word came about.
My favorite part of that trial was later when Marsha Clark hooked up with Chris Darden. That was the funniest. Like, oh, okay, there you go.
And to answer your question, that was Garrison Hayes' YouTube channel where that came from, just to give the content creator credit there. But I guess we need to thank some people now.
We need to thank a whole bunch of people because this is, of course, the very last in the series of Moe Factz with Adam Curry. So
first, the white man and the black man have to be able to sit down at the same table. The white man has to feel free to speak his mind without hurting the feelings of that Negro. And the so-called Negro has to feel free to speak his mind without hurting the feelings of the white man. Then they can bring the issues that are under the rug out on top of the table and take an intelligent approach to get the problem solved. That's the only way that they'll ever do it.
And before we move on, Mo, I want to thank you for the past 99 episodes and, of course, for today's episode. That we've been doing that. We've been doing exactly what that clip has said. It's the last time we'll play it, probably.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing is that we did it before the clip even surfaced, but that was the cool part about it. That
we're breaking all the stereotypes. Telling you, it's crazy. Hey, we're going to kick off with our executive and associate executive producers who have supported episode 100. And of course, thank you to everyone who has supported the show throughout its existence in the past 5 years. We do have a big baller.
Shot caller.
collar, 20-inch blades on the Impala.
And we kick it off with Benjamin Nidus, who has a nice angel number here, $777.99. Of course, that was for episode 99. And he says, and of course, he'll be a top executive producer. It's been almost 20 years since I first heard Adam Curry live from the Apple Store on Twit. Wow. I don't even remember when I was in the Apple Store, but I believe you. Episode 99 was super powerful, and the MLK assassination was always a gap in my historical knowledge. The Hunt angle loops back into the No Agenda reading list and Russ Baker's Family of Secrets. It does indeed. I found this episode served as a wonderful appendix to that book. I cannot wait to watch Dark Legacy and the sequel on BitChute. Yes, of course. Thank you very much, Benjamin. And of course, just because this is the last episode doesn't mean that the support for it needs to end. We'd love to know what you thought of it. So your notes and your boostograms are always appreciated.
And share. Yes. I'm just going to say this because one of the things I did was try to make this show as evergreen as possible. So hopefully when people find it later on, they still find value in it. I mean, that was a conscious effort of mine. So please continue. I mean, our producers have done a great job with sharing. I always see on X and other places, hey, you need to check this out. You need to check this out. You know, so I much appreciate it. But please continue to share because hopefully this will be valuable even years from now.
Well, it's going to stay up. Nothing will ever come down. It's going in perpetuity, and we're going to make sure it's on all kinds of backup systems. I think we're also on archive.org, but if not, I'll make sure that happens just so that it'll be around for a long time. Hey, and you know what? Why don't you download it all onto a CD or something, or onto a thumb drive, or a couple of thumb drives? So one day the anthropologists can go, what is this?
They make great stocking stuffers.
Blathercast comes in as an executive producer at 333. Sorry for missing the draft. This is Sir Johnny B. I'll take a douchebag for that. Oh, goodness gracious. Wasn't expecting a douchebag. Well, don't we?
I don't think he deserves it, but I mean, if he's asking for it, I guess we got to kind of honor him. So,
hold on a second. I don't know.
Oh, boy.
It's like I wasn't expecting a douchebag. All right. If you want it, go for it. And I have a request for a posthumous baller. I was the big baller pre-big baller, so I'll take that now. I think we can do that.
Baller,
yes.
Shot caller, 20-inch blades on the Impala.
And he finishes up by saying, sorry for letting the league down.
If you're wondering what he's talking about,
I am.
Created the first Factz Family Fantasy Football League.
Ah, yes. Now I remember.
We're going to get you in it next year, Adam.
Brandon Archer, $250. I'm just going to skip right over that. Brandon Archer, $250. Goated podcast, of course, greatest of all time. Hashtag GBG.
Do we have a talent?
Jason Kretschmann, $200. You taught me about the boule, introduced me to Neely Fuller, explained what white supremacy, or as he says, supremacy really is, and now have me listening to Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. That was great. I can't thank you both enough for what you've brought from under the rug up on top the table. I truly loved and looked forward to every episode. You will be missed. Thanks for everything. Jason Kretschmann in Richmond, Indiana. Oh, thanks, brother. Appreciate that. Alexander Feckett, $200. And he just says, for being a real one. I think he means thanks by that. Jamie Palacios, $150. Absolutely love Moe Factz with Adam Curry because I learned years in advance of the clips Jimmy Dore and others were playing in late July like they stumbled upon something Moe and Adam schooled me on years before. Happy 100th episode and long live Moe Factz with Adam Curry. It will live long for sure. Ryan Tierney, 12345. Congratulations on 100 episodes. 4 more years? ? Well, not of this show.
Not of this show, but we'll be active.
Then we had, this was a note and a card that was sent in. Let me bring this up here. Where's my note and my card? Here we go. This was from Was it Renegade 6 and Sparkles of Chaos? Yes.
Yes, with the beautiful card.
Beautiful. Now, you have the card, Mo. Explain this card.
It is a hand-painted card of a black butterfly. Let me grab it and make sure I can read the back of it. It says a black butterfly, spice bush swallowtail, which I'm a butterfly guy, if you didn't know. And this was in honor of the Black Butterfly episode with concerning Henrietta Lack. So, and it's mentioned in the note as well. But it's a beautiful. Hopefully, we can get it in the show notes. If not, I'll probably be posting it to X and other platforms so people can see it. Because I think it's it's just beautiful.
So Renegade 6 and Sparkles of Chaos have a note to go with that. Thanks, Mo. We appreciate everything you have sought to teach us in this series and wish you the utmost success in your next chapter. My keeper, Sparkles of Chaos, painted this for you to say thank you to Henrietta Lacks for her unwilling gift that helped in her career, in her cancer treatment. I thank you for helping me better understand where people are coming from. And then he has a quote here from Sheriff Bart. Who's Sheriff Bart?
I think that's from, I want to say Tombstone.
Oh.
Let me look it up while you read it.
Sheriff Bart, my work here is done. I'm needed elsewhere. Now I'm needed where outlaws rule the West, where innocent women and children are afraid to walk the streets, wherever a man cannot live in simple dignity, wherever people cry out for justice. And then
Blazing Saddles.
Yes, I was going to say Blazing Saddles.
That was going to be my first guess.
I was going to say it. All right, you caught me to speak. The plain truth is getting pretty damn dull around here. Have a good ride off into the Moe Factz with Adam Curry sunset, and we'll see you in the next venture. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Appreciate you guys. Christopher Benfield, 106. Sir Combat Rock of the Idaho Highlands here. Mo, thank you for 100 enlightening episodes. Godspeed in your future endeavors. I hope to hear more from you in the future. Can I get a D deadbeat and a biscuit for my birthday? Why, yes, you can. I had a very busy screen here today. Hold on a second. Got your D deadbeating.
Congratulations. You're no longer a deadbeat.
They always give me a biscuit on my birthday.
That's got to be one of the most requested No Agenda jingles. Biscuit on my birthday. It's unbelievable.
I made the show.
You did that a lot. Goran Markovich, 101.01, the binary. Thank you both for providing great insights on all facets of American culture, race relations, and general education about past, present, and future of this crazy world we live in. As someone who grew up in another country where almost everyone was, quote, white, yet similar machinations were present, it is clear that it was never about color of the skin, but about them and us, those who feel supreme and inferior rest of us, and the inferior rest of us. These 100 episodes should be studied by all who know there is a better way, especially the future generations. Amazing content, and shout out to the higher side chats where I learned about Moe Factz. All right.
Appreciate that, and there it is. Not like us, once again.
That's right. Brain Rellerford, 133 cents. Love the show. Appreciate your attention to details. Thank you. Pineapple Brickyard, 101 cents. Thank you for an excellent show and all your hard work throughout the years. Congrats on 100 episodes. And I hope this palindrome helps with whatever you do next. Sir Ty. Dame Slamey comes in with 100. Hey, Mo and Adam. Show club donation. Yes, it is. I'm going through withdrawals and it isn't even over yet. Thank you for 100 episodes of great insights and conversations. I'm hoping for future bonus episodes. And she caps it off with a GBG.
Do we have a panel?
And much love. Thank you. Casey Garrett, 100. Thank you for all you do. Congratulations on 100 episodes. Chris Novak, sad 100. Sad to see the show come to an end. I wish for nothing but the best for you and your family. Thanks for all the amazing insights, Sir Chris in Reno.
Daniel, I just want to say one thing. These are all show club donations.
They all are. Yeah, every single one of them. And they'll be noted as such in the credits. Daniel Jacobson with 100. This is my last chance to get in on the show number club, so I had to take it. Thank you for all the knowledge shared. Happy 100, says Jay Codicini. It was a great run. Hopeful to see what is next for the show. Kyle Mann and Mahingus Silver, both 100 with no note. We thank you very much. Love you guys, says Matt Litka. Thank you for your courage. Sabina Flagg, 100 for the 100th podcast. Stephen Page, 100. From the beginning to the end, it's been a privilege to be part of Moe Factz. Yes, as a producer, you have been a part of it, and thank you. Tony Romano, long live Moe Factz, 100. Thank you very much. Then the associate executive producers, who also will be credited as such, Matt Stegman, 8118, nice palindrome. Just listen to number 18, kind of relevant again, how that Kamala Harris is running. What was number 18, Mo? What was
That's She Wrote a Hero. No, She Wrote a Zero.
Yes.
And back to She Wrote.
Thank you for a great run of 100, some of which I'm obviously going back to. Please credit me as Sir Matters. So we shall change that to Sir Matters. Got it. Brandon S., $68.88. No note. We appreciate. Kyle Tohig, 6006, small boobs donation. Episode 100 of Moe Factz with Adam Curry. Please don't stop at 100. We need more analysis in these crazy times. Well, this isn't just analysis. This has been education. Analysis. You never know. David Porras with $60. No need to read. Just karma, please, for Dave, Yvette Shatera, and Inez. Karma needed. I might as well read this. I'm trying to help co-workers, 3 black women who feel discriminated against in their employment. And although I'm an attorney, I will be using non-traditional legal representation to make our case. LegalHealing.com, legal-healing.com is the website. If done wrong, I'll be breaking my conflict of interest agreement. If done right, I'll be forcing this governmental organization to admit it doesn't follow its own words. I'd love to share more as we start this journey. Thanks for your show and everything going forward. All the best. And we can hit you with a Mo Karma for that.
You've got
Mo Karma.
Hannah Hernandez, $50, associate executive producer. Thank you for your perspective and for the clear, thoughtful presentations and conversations. God bless you, Adam, and Mo, and your families. Ken Smith, $50. Thank you, Mo and Adam. $50 from Marshall Spoon. Thank you very much, Marshall. Summer Norris with $50, no note. New money for you from Scott Riley, $50, GBG.
We have a panel.
And that is our executive and associate executive producers for episode 100, the final episode in the series of Moe Factz with Adam Curry. You are more than welcome to send donations to thank us if you're hearing this at this moment or in the future. You can do it through a modern podcast app. I recommend using Fountain. It's pretty easy to do that. You can earn little bits of Bitcoin known as Satoshis, and then you can send those over to us. We'll be reading some of the boostograms later on because people have also been boosting throughout the course of the interim between episode 99 and episode 100. It's also nice to see people streaming sats as they go back throughout the archives. Or you can go to mofundme.com. That's where we have a PayPal, a Cash App. You can send everything in through that. And we really appreciate all the support that has come in, particularly from our executive and associate executive producers throughout the entire series of Moe Factz with Adam Curry.
All right, so we have a little short block here, and this is just on who's allowed to say it, which I'm going to say right now. No one in mixed company. Just stick to that rule.
Who's allowed to say the N-word? Honestly, not many people. People of color, I would think, you know.
Only black people are allowed to say the N-word. Point blank.
I don't have a problem with any other black people saying it. I just think, be conscious of how you say it and where you're using it in the context, and don't use the hard ER because that's really bad.
I don't want people to ever forget that was the last word that some black men or women would have heard before they were killed, before they were raped, before they were assaulted.
The word isn't what holds the power, it's the conditions that word existed under that still perpetuates today.
Just for the context, Mo, you said no one in mixed company.
Yes.
But that you can do it if you're not in mixed company, regardless.
I won't know about it.
I'm sorry?
I won't know about it.
Oh, yes, I got you.
You see how that works? I mean, I'm not going to be coming. If I'm there, then it's mixed company.
Yeah.
You follow me?
I follow you.
Hold on. I'm an N-word absolutist in this standpoint that I'm not one of these people that people of color / colored people can use it. Like, say, for instance, Fat Joe or Asian people or that kind of thing, if you live close to the culture, that's how they like to say it. That don't fly with me. I think that's a word that needs to be reserved for black people to use, but I think it's tacky when black people use it in mixed company of other people. Mm-hmm. You see, I'm making clear what my stance is. But if you want to use it, make sure it's not in mixed company. That way, just for your sake and safety and just everything else that's going on with being canceled or wherever else. I mean, if you feel you have to use that word, knock yourself out, but just don't do it in mixed company. But I'm not one of these people that give out N-word passes to and you see this is a southern thing versus a northern thing too. In the North, New York, those kind of places, I think they live so close together that you had certain other ethnic groups, and even in California, you see it as well, that they let these other groups use the N-word. Then it gets confusing when it gets disrespectful, because it's like, are you saying it to disrespect me? Or are you saying, which you can't go back, there's only one way to disrespect yourself, and that's to lie to yourself. But I'm just saying, like, are you using it how I would use it against another black person, that I'm being disrespectful, but not with this word? Or are you using it as a slur? So that's where it gets confusing. So I'm an N-word absolutist. I don't use the word in mixed company. I think it's tacky. At best, it could be trashy and terroristic. And I suggest no other people should use it in mixed company if you feel the need to use the word. Is that
yes,
clear?
Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to hear from you.
That's the best advice I can give you to stay out of trouble. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be honest. But if this teacher would have listened to me, he wouldn't have had his, the issue. And this is probably, if you want to say, the funniest use of the word, if that's possible. But this teacher, he gets in some hot water over it.
Valley Traditional High School is in the middle of a racial controversy right now. A teacher used the N-word towards a student. The word is only 6 letters long, but the impact is far-reaching. And we do want to warn you that some of the language in this story is strong, and it may offend you, it may offend some other people. But since the story is not just about the N-word, it's also about the teacher's intent and definition of the word, we have decided to leave it in the story for you to decide.
And what did he say specifically to you?
Sit down, nigga.
Keyshawn Chambers is a freshman at Valley High School, a Boy Scout, a football player, a member of the ROTC, an honor roll student. He was hanging around his teacher's classroom door in December. The teacher told him to sit down, and the teacher says that Keyshawn used the N-word first.
And I just kind of was stunned a second. Well, then get away from the door, nigga. And I repeated the same insult because that's sort of what I've been trained to do.
Once again, this is confusing. Yes. This word is confusing, and this variation is not the hard R.
No, that was obvious.
I'm letting people know, like, don't use any of them. But those are two completely different words. Completely. But people can hear them the same. So,
now, are you going to get into the difference between these two words?
I mean, not really. I mean, because we covered it kind of in the back and forth in the funeral aspect of it. You know, you have the hard R variety,
right.
Which is the spell. And then you have the the GA, which is like the term of endearment amongst black people. So, I mean, that's pretty cut and dry. But like I said, it just gets confusing, which spells are meant to be confusing. But let's go ahead and get to the second part.
Whenever you say with a hard R, all I can hear is Eddie Murphy mocking a white person using it. He does that so well. All All right, here's the next, the second part of this clip.
He says Nigger is a racial slur, but says that students use Nigga as often as they'd say dude or hey man. And Dawson says as much as he does not like the word, he still used the slang version to feel more comfortable with black students.
Why is this word used so frequently? So I just don't understand it, and I'm trying to understand it. I need help. Yes. I use nigga.
This guy needed Moe Factz with Adam Curry, but we were there to help.
See?
Let me finish the clip. Hold on.
I just don't understand it, and I'm trying to understand it. I need help. Yes, I use nigga. I've used it. I admit it. I put the H on it to emphasize it's nigga. Nigga this, nigga please, nigga. Can you lend a nigga a pencil?
What kind of example are you setting for your students if you use a word that you don't want them to use?
Upon reflection, that's not good.
Dawson was suspended for 10 days without pay from January 9th to January 23rd, and he has to go to diversity training. He says that he's learned from this experience and hopes that others think twice before using the N-word.
I will never say any form of nigga. I'm cured of that.
He had to go to diversity training.
He's cured.
He's cured.
He's cured. And this will never happen if you take my advice of never using it in mixed company.
But also, also the context of a spell, he was cured from the spell.
Yes. But he also triggered unintentionally.
Yeah.
He rubbed up against, it's like, did you say Beetlejuice or not? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like you said Beetlejuice, so here's another and in this case, I have to blame black people for this, of using this word so flippantly amongst mixed company. I find it it's one of my pet peeves and one of the most awkward things if you're as a black person or with another black person, but they gave their non-black person, no matter the race, what it is, the N-word pass. And they drop it. And then it's like this weird, because like you look at the person that said it, and then you look at their black friend, and then they both look at you, and it's like, it's the most awkward situation. And people know exactly what I'm saying, because either you've been in this situation as one of these parties. It's just like, oh, that's how y'all getting down over here, huh? Mm-hmm. But like I said, it's just, don't do it. Just don't. I mean, just be like, what you say? He needs help. We're trying to give you help. But Kendrick Lamar ran into this situation with a concert goer.
Kendrick Lamar, a young man who I consider the leader of the new school for this generation, was performing at the Hangout Festival in Alabama, and he decided to bring this young Caucasian Delaney on stage to do a little trap karaoke. Now, when you're younger, you don't see things that way, simply because you only know the N-word because your favorite black artist uses it all the time, and your favorite black personalities use it all the time, and your favorite black athletes use it all the time. It's in the music that you purchase, so I understand how for a youngin', the use of the N-word can be confusing. Now, Kendrick brought this white woman on stage and had her sing Mad City. Let's be clear. This song, Mad City, has the N-word in it 21 times. Let's listen to the audio and see how Delaney handled this Fear Factor challenge.
Wait. Am I not cool enough for you? What's up, bro? What's up?
My boy Rohan kind of knew the rules a little bit.
Well, it's just really cool, bro. You have to work.
You gotta bleep one single word, though.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I do it?
Yeah, you did it.
I'm so sorry.
I didn't know that happened.
Yeah, this is a few years ago, but even amongst Kendrick Lamar's crew, this is Schoolboy Q, which is one of his it's a loose group called Black Hippies, they disagree on this topic.
You talking about these hipsters pile into your shows?
Oh yeah,
I heard you be talking about. You can go ahead and say the N-word in here.
Hell
It's
yeah.
good.
I saw that.
Turn that up.
Hell yeah.
So hold on.
You
So
put money, you feed my family, you pay my rent. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not racist. You in here listening to my music.
Yeah.
If the line comes up, I'm not expecting you to blah 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 blah. Like, say it. It's a rap concert. Like, I'm not telling you to go
Out on the street.
Yeah,
say-
out on the street and say it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Don't do that. Like, but when you in the concert, man, be comfortable. Like, our whole thing at High Power is like, Kendrick made a song, but it stood for all of us. It was called F*** Your Ethnicity.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, we don't believe in that. Yes, we're black, Asian, or whatever, but at the end of the day, we all people. We bleed the same, we breathe the same, we may have babies the same. We all like the same music, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like, if you in my concert and the N-word comes up, don't be scared to say it. Like,
Don't go
but
silent.
nobody gonna hurt you in my show. Like, you know, we all having fun, we relieving stress.
This reminds me of a story in Austin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say maybe 2-3 years ago, where a bunch of schoolgirls were singing along. I don't remember the song. And they were doing an Instagram, and it had the N-word, and they were just rapping along with the N-word, and they got expelled from school.
Once again, and here's where I'm confused, because I get confused like everybody else. If you make art and the art is meant for the world's consumption, is it okay to use the N-word? Because technically, that's mixed company.
Mm-hmm.
You catch what I'm saying? Like, I go back and forth wrestling with myself on how should it be used or not? And where I end up landing is, if it has artistic purpose and not just a filler word, I think you have justification to use the word. But if you're just using it to punctuate sentences, I don't. That's just, yeah.
Right, but that comes down to, you're saying the artists themselves.
Yeah, but I mean, there's certain artistic standards, you know, like it just like I know people that punctuate sentences with MF, which also has a racist connotation, but that's another story for another day. Mm-hmm. Is it even with swearing, like, I don't swear on this show much, unless it's necessary to illustrate a point. And that's what I'm saying. Like, is it necessary to use these words to make a point, or are you just using it just to use it? And I believe the reason why I was using rap is to fill in. It's a good filler word.
Mm-hmm.
When you're trying to have syllables, you're balancing your syllables in a line, you can throw that one in there, and you know what I'm saying, it's like a filler word. So I think that's one of the main purposes of it. So I mean, that's and I don't know where I stand. I don't know where I stand on it, because you don't want to censor art, but also art is a very, you know what I'm saying, like, is it really art at a point?
Yeah, I mean, is Banksy art? Is Who's Afraid of Red, Yellow, and Blue art? I mean, you can go on forever. For me, none of it bothers me. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
none of it bothers me.
I feel where you're coming from, but here, and the reason why I made this segment is this next set of clips. And I didn't want to really talk about her. I avoided her online as much as possible, but it was the interest that she drew in that interested me, not her herself. The lady, the trad wife that dropped the N-word. I don't know if you've heard her or not. Lily?
No, I don't know about this.
Oh yeah, this was a big thing about a few months ago. 28.
So it's been requested. Let's talk about tradwife TikToker Lily Gaddis. A tradwife, short for traditional wife, basically the idea that a woman's proper place is in the home, cooking, cleaning, while the man brings in the money. And Lily's been in the news recently because there was a video that she posted where she was chatting with her viewers about, quote, dumb whores, immigrants fresh off the boat looking for a green card, as well as gold diggers, with it all then leading to this clip.
Everybody I know who's married right now, they're married to broke ass and they don't care. We don't give a about your money.
With that video blowing up, a lot of the responses going, what did she say? They're getting millions and millions of views until her TikTok got suspended. Right online, you saw tons of people super pissed off and disgusted, with Lily then responding with this video.
So a recent video of mine seems to have upset members of a certain community, and all the backlash just really made me, just really do a deep dive, like do a soul search. And after all that, I still couldn't find a care.
Wow. A TikTok controversy. Oh, no.
And this is when you have to be weird. When she said that, collectively, everyone should have just looked at her, almost like looking through her, because the whole point of this was to draw engagement. I'm going to say what shouldn't be said or couldn't be said.
Exactly.
And like flies the shit. Once again, I use that in an artistic way.
Yes.
Here they come. Here, everybody, the haters came. You're based, Lily. You're based. And then just to spoil the punchline here. Because they're going to get into it, but when they started looking to her past, she didn't meet the litmus test of the people she thought she was based for. But 29.
With all of that leading to people online finding her job, sending the clip to her employer, which also I will say I found confusing. Why does a trad wife have a job? You should be in the kitchen making sandwiches and babies, making Harrison Butker types feel like manly men, despite playing the one position they sometimes let women play. But yeah, she was apparently a marketing and sales manager at a home healthcare company for the elderly and disabled in North Carolina. But we got to go past tense because yesterday, without naming her, the company announced that it had fired an employee over, quote, inflammatory remarks on social media that do not align with the values and beliefs of our company. Right into that news, we saw a lot of people rejoicing, but also a lot of other people pissed off. So personally, my reaction was much closer to Hank Green's, with him saying there has never been a more clear example of a person trying to rage bait their way into becoming a conservative pundit than this woman. And in fact, Lily herself ended up tweeting, "Thanks, Black community, for helping to launch my new career in conservative media. You all played your role well, like the puppets you are." And it appears like she's going to be speed running the circuit. She was just on InfoWars. She just made a video about everything being gay. And ultimately, this ends up being an example of the culture war economy that we see online.
Ooh, I like that. Culture war economy. Exactly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And the thing is, she doesn't have any talent at all other than saying the N-word. You bring her on your show. Everybody brought on Candace Owens, Alex Jones.
Really? Oh, man. I missed all of this outrage. Oh, no.
Every conservative platform had her. What's the two guys, the brothers?
Oh, the hedge, was it?
Yeah, those guys.
Hedgewoods. What are they called? I forget what they're called. Hodgepodge.
Hodge twins.
Hodge twins.
Yeah, it was just like, oh, let's get her on. Let's get her on. Oh, y'all, you said the N-word. That kind of thing. Like, past that, and this is when I'm talking about art. Even podcasting is art. We got to make this clear right now. Podcasting is just like hip hop in the sense of everybody can rap, but not everybody can rap, if you get what I'm saying. Everybody can podcast, but everybody can't podcast. I'm sorry.
Yes.
You got to kind of have something to say. And it doesn't matter what you say.
That's going to be my new bumper sticker. Podcasting is just like hip hop. Yes. Yes.
It
finally
is.
Recognition.
Because it's a microphone and a person, and you have to express yourself. Now we have beats, clips, you know what I'm saying, or other, backdrops to keep the motion going. But you have to have something to say other than just making words rhyme. It's the same thing. So we got to be careful of who we give,
who we platform.
I wouldn't even say that because like that gets kind of communist. You know what I'm saying? What I'm saying is you got to have a standard of what you consume. Like, everybody should have a platform where your taste should be like, do you just eat anything? You know, like that kind of, I'm not saying you can't make chitlins. I'm just saying, why would you eat chitlins? You know what I'm saying? That kind of thing. You know, you follow what I'm saying? Like, I mean,
yes, I follow.
There's better options out here, folks. There are better options.
That was perfect. You put me right in the mood for the next donation segment. I needed that. It was a little palate cleanser. Yes, let's just make this light for a moment. Oh, all right. I got to go find the trad wife now. I can't believe that she was on everybody's podcast too. That just shows you. What was the term again? Culture.
The culture war
economy.
Culture war economy. That's it.
Let me just hear it again.
And it appears like she's going to be speed running the circuit. I mean, she was just on InfoWars. She just made a video about everything being gay. And ultimately, this ends up being an example of the culture war economy that we see online.
That is a great descriptor. The culture war economy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It works.
Which
people making bank off it.
Before we thank people for they appreciate what we do, we avoided that.
Yes.
We don't talk about hot stories when they're hot. We wait till they fully develop. The biggest one was George Floyd. Yeah. We waited until that thing played all the way out.
Yeah.
The verdict was final. Then we talked about it. So it's like I said, it's better options out here.
Yes.
And
not participating in the culture war economy is definitely a vow of poverty. But that's podcasting. This hip hop. We're the true hip hoppers with no record deal.
Rappers die broke. You know how I go.
I like brand new money. I don't want any money around me is not. I'd almost rather have a new one than an old 20. That's kind of dumb, isn't it? But there's something about new money that excites you. You like $100 bills?
Oh, yeah. I like new money, too.
Oh, most beautiful thing on earth is a $100 bill. I hadn't seen a woman as good looking as a $100 bill. There's something about a $100 bill that excites you.
Well, we already did our $100 bills. Now it's under 50, and we are so appreciative that we want to thank everybody who supported us here for episode 99 and 100. And Jill Woods says she sent $47 with a reason. She says, thank you for your service. Let's go 47, Savage. Mo Karma, please.
You've got
Mo Karma.
We got Dustin Zimmer with 40. Thank you. Curtis, $25 payment from Curtis. $25 indeed. Priscilla Rubio, 25. Thank you for taking us through the rabbit hole. Godspeed. Then we have a number of 20s here with no note. Want to thank Aaron Sneed, Bo Baldwin, Benjamin Barlow, Bonnie Blankshane, David I. McAnally, and David Jones. Also, John Siebert, $20. Thank you. SV20, Corey Katz says $20 since Yahoo wouldn't take it. Hey, it's a reason. Mark Asher, 1837, no note, but interesting. 1837, interesting number. Benjamin Bateman, 1234, great job, guys. And he says, hi, Susie. Jordan Brown says, D deadbeat me.
Congratulations. You're no longer a deadbeat.
$11.24 on a recent episode. Another producer whose child was born on 11/22/24 talked about navigating the ridiculous childhood vaccine schedule. I'm in the exact boat. Adam put a link in the Midwestern Doctor Substack in the No Agenda show notes. That was very helpful. Okay. Crossover there. Christy Carlton, $10. Kyle Tack, 10. Ronaldo Perez, 10. Thomas Stay, Tom Starkweather, 10. Vanessa Steinbach, $10. Alton Scales, $5. Thanks for the great content. Joshua Goodson with $5. And Terry Keller, who has always been there as the human subscription machine.
There we go.
$4.11. Couple of boostograms I'd like to share because people have been sending those to us as well. Kilo Romeo from Podverse, 99,333 sats. Thank you. We've kept it all of these Satoshi, so one day we'll be able to retire on it. He says, after listening to 99 episodes, I am no longer a deadbeat. Well, it's about time, brother.
Congratulations. You're no longer a deadbeat.
35,000 from Noodlegun99, who says thanks. 30,000 from Nigel H6. All the sats I've earned listening to your show via Fountain paid back to you as a thank you for everything. Well, that's exactly what we asked for. Thank you. 14,900 from Merlin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 12,345 Satoshis from Tag Mr. B. Been a hell of a ride. Looking forward to whatever comes next. 10,000 from Fountain Forever. The end is near. Thanks for 100 great episodes. I will share them with friends and family for years to come. Yes, exactly what we'd like you to do. 10,000 from Count of SF. He says, damn, that resonated. Okay, probably episode 99. Yes, it was. Gene Everett, 10,000. Elon hasn't given up on electric cars at all. It's the biggest part of his net worth. I don't think Trump fits into the same box as Bush. Elon, a cowboy? Nah, man, if he is Trump, definitely fits too. Especially what he went through in the 80s dealing with the mob in New York City. Find myself disagreeing a lot here, but still love it. Boost, boost, boost. Thank you, Gene. Thank you for being there throughout all the episodes. 10,000 from Fab6. Thank you, brothers, says SLC with 10,000 sats. Dave Ackerman. Oh, no, Ace Ackerman, I'm sorry. Who has boosted every single episode with a boob donation, 8,008, says V for V episode 99. We appreciate it. We're going to take it to the 5,000s here. We got 6,000 from Hawaii. Big love from Hawaii. Mama Llama, 5020. Sad to see the series go. Started listening in 2020 because of no agenda. Saved my sat so I could donate $3.33, which it was at the time of donation. Want to make sure I donated before the end of the show. Thank you guys for all you do. I'm excited for more projects to come. In the Morning from Kaylee Jackson. And finally, Hopper with 5,000. I can't let this series come to an end as a deadbeat. Please de-deadbeat me.
Congratulations. You're no longer a deadbeat.
I've listened to every episode. Can't wait to see what your future holds. Love the clips from the audiobook. I'll be buying Outwitting the Devil myself shortly. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much from Nick. And we appreciate all the people who throughout the past 100 episodes have participated in this as a modern podcast on a modern podcast app. Still available for you to boost in and, of course, to send your PayPal or your Cash App donations. MoeFactz.com. You can click on the donation page. The archives will be up, of course, in perpetuity. Archives.MoeFactz.com. And if you want to go directly to the donation page, it is MoeFundMe.com. I just renewed all of the domain names again for another 5 years, so they will be sticking around. Thank you all. From my heart, from Moe's heart, you have been a great source of excitement for us. It has really kept us going. And it's not the money, it's the fact that you're sending value back as a value for value project has meant so much to us, particularly through the harder times that Moe went through with the job. It has been immense. Thank you again for your support of Moe Factz with Adam Curry.
And I want to say something before we continue on that. It's those little dings on your phone that say, okay, somebody still cares out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the money, you know what I'm saying? It's not the amount. And if people know me in E-class, you know what I'm saying, can attest to this, I never did anything for the money in my life. And I don't mean like we got to work to live, but I never made a decision in my life based off of what was, finance up front, this is the best thing. No. I have to really want to do something to do it. And you'd be surprised, like that one little, that $5 message here to keep you going. You know what I'm saying? When you're up late at night, listening to clips and listening to source material, just to say somebody still cares out there and finds value. That's the real magic of value for value. Is knowing somebody cares out there what you're doing. So I just want to say that, it keeps you going.
It does. It certainly does. And of course, we never did this for the money. We did it. We liked each other. We wanted to explore something that has not really been well explored in media, certainly not in American media. You know, there were fakers who came along, Obama and Bruce Springsteen. They tried to do it.
That, Bruce.
Take that, Obama. They didn't even come close to scratching the surface of what we've done here. For me, it is most important that people find this in the future for your kids, for your grandkids, that something is around and that at some point in the future, people can say, hey, this is how these guys saw it at this point in time.
And hopefully it helps you to seek first to understand.
That's right.
That's the real goal. And that's the real magic of us coming together, because we both came into this seeking first to understand.
That's right.
And we had some levity, some comedy there, but I want to let people know that the conditions of the N-word never stopped. There's this misconception that after slavery, after Jim Crow, after civil rights, the conditions stopped. Well, sad to say it didn't. And I'm going to, these next set of clips is kind of like black pillish, but no pun intended. But I just want to I want to express why this word holds the weight that it does, because the conditions still exist. This is Noam Chomsky, and he explains the hidden history of America.
You're taught in school that slavery ended in the Civil War. It did for about 10 years. By 1877, there was a compact made by North and South that the South could do what it felt like, essentially. So they reinstituted slavery, but they reinstituted it in a much more brutal form. What they did is criminalize black life. So if a black man is standing on a street corner, he can be arrested for vagrancy. If he looks at a white woman, he can be arrested for attempted rape, or something. And it didn't matter if you were in for a $10 fee, you'd never get out, because you couldn't pay the corrupt judge and you couldn't pay the lawyer, and you didn't have any money anyway. So it was essentially permanent servitude.
And a good example of this is if you ever seen the show Hell on Wheels. You ever seen that show?
I don't think so.
About when they're building a train across America.
Mm-hmm. No, I haven't seen that.
Great show. The context they have, the race relationships of the Irish and the freedmen, and they even have a Swede on there, and some of the this everybody. It's very in the Native Americans. It's amazing how they capture it, and one of the components of it is these basically prisoners that were traded. Their labor was traded to help build the railroad.
It's still the same today.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's one of the things that Kamala is accused of, is holding people
longer for cheap labor.
For cheap, yeah. So let's just get into the second part of Chomsky.
These criminalized blacks were then handed over to industry, and that's a large part of American industrial development. This big Southern industrialization based on mines, steel, U.S. Steel, and so on. A lot of it's just based on agriculture, of course. They went right back to the cotton fields. This is a large part of American economic history. That's based, and it was worse than slavery for exactly the reasons that the slave owners had always argued. When we own these guys, we take care of them. When we just pick them up from the jails, we don't give a damn about them. If they die of starvation, fine. We got more from the jails. So you had a period worse than slavery. It went up to the Second World War. It was not small. Big impact on American industrial history.
Big impact.
Second World War. So that was in 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
But sad to say, in the 2020s, this thing still exists in Alabama.
Well, a lot of people are calling it modern slavery. Does that feel right?
I was just about to say that's slavery. That's slavery. You took away the whips, but you put the paperwork. Took away the masters and you put them in uniform. Same difference.
It kind of appears that there is a coordinated system in order to protect the labor that's created by the prison system.
Walk into a McDonald's in Alabama, and the worker flipping your McDouble could be an incarcerated person.
It's a sad situation, a way they getting rich off us.
The Alabama Department of Corrections farms out incarcerated people to work at hundreds of private companies and government agencies across the state.
McDonald's, Burger King, Golden Corral, Wendy's. They got a Wendy's contract right now. State Trooper's office.
They'll send everybody everywhere.
They'll send you everywhere. Yes, the parole office.
And even though ADOC trusts these incarcerated people to leave prison every day and work alongside the general public, many of them are still denied the chance at real freedom.
Yeah, wasn't that the Corrections Corporation of America, the CCA? I think who did that? Who did
I'm not
the
sure.
contracts? I think so.
But that's you're safe enough to go work in Wendy's, but you're not safe enough to get paroled or let go. And I know some people are like, well, they did the crime, you did do the time. These are nonviolent offenders. Most of them, like, well, I'll let go into 30. You want to say anything before we go into?
No,
but I'm saying this is McDonald's, Wendy's. I mean, like, the same thing is going on. These conditions still exist. So when you say this word, this is what gives it the weight of the magic, of the spell. Because all these feelings are conjured back up. If it was in the past, it would be in the past, that kind of thing.
But it's not.
But it's not, at all. It's kind of, I'm gonna give you an example. It might be a poor example, but it's the closest one I can think of. It's a difference if you cheated on your wife in high school or if you cheated on your wife in high school and you had a baby out of it. You see the difference? Like, if it wasn't no baby out of it, it's like she might could have got past it, but no. You know what I'm saying? It's still evidence that exists that hasn't been addressed. That isn't water under the dam. It's still here. It's not went anywhere. So this is what gives the magic word the power. Hopefully that was a good analogy. But
I got it.
All right, 34.
But ADOC offers people in prison with nonviolent misdemeanor convictions a potentially life-saving deal. If they join the work release program, they get to live in special facilities that are generally much less dangerous than regular prisons. They spend their days working in the free world without prison supervision, and they can earn 72-hour passes to visit their families at home.
If you go out here and you do the right thing, you get to elevate, you get to grow, you get out of this facility. But what you didn't tell me is that you finna get all my money. That's what they didn't tell you.
The state takes a 40% cut of every incarcerated worker's wages off the top, before taxes, plus an additional $5 a day for van rides to and from work, $15 a month for laundry, and then any restitution and court fees.
If your check is $636, you might see two something out of that. And that's every 2 weeks. And you done work 80 hours and only seen $200.
Yeah, I'm glad that we had this clip because it triggered me, the work release program. I remember when this was put in place. Do you?
Yes.
Obama.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. It don't matter. It matters, but it doesn't matter what color the person is putting it in. It's who do they serve?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, Obama is the biggest, one of the biggest supporters of the system of white supremacy. That's right. What scares me about Kamala. You know what I'm saying? Like, if she gets in there, oh boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, they really got some cover going. A colored woman, you know what kind of damage she could do, and they have coverage.
We haven't actually discussed this. I watched the debate last night. You watched the debate. I never underestimate Trump's ability to communicate to the American people. And when I say the American people, that's not you and I. Mm-hmm. I would call us the media class. The true American people are really hurting, and they see it. They see what's going on. I think he communicated. First of all, debates never matter. They never have. It's, trust the science on that one. They really don't matter. They only matter for in certain cases of people who didn't matter in the first place, like the Dean Scream and other things like that. It gives the media a thing to hold on to. In this case, there was nothing new. Everybody's already heard these accusations. I think Trump's consistent hammering on the border, on crime, and even eating the dogs, I think that resonated. And I don't know if he'll win the election based upon the Electoral College, but I think he definitely will win the popular vote. I think it was very uncomfortable to watch, and all the things that we all felt like, oh man, how come you got triggered by this? This is that. Yeah, but the message, which was consistent throughout the entire, more than an hour and a half, I think it resonates with the people who will come out to vote. I do not think we'll see Kamala Harris as president.
Here's my 2 takeaways. First, I find it amazing that MS-13, all these gangs taking over apartment. These are all narratives, true or not true. Who knows? We're talking about media narratives here. But it's Haitians eating the dogs and cats. Is one get everybody worked up. Honestly, we've had children be human trafficked, taken, kidnapped, deleted, all this stuff. But it's the Haitians eating ducks.
That's correct, Mo. That's America.
But that's what I'm saying. What are the Haitians? Hello? Just like at the border. I ain't seen nobody else get chased down on horseback except people that kind of look like me. I'm being completely honest here. Why is it always the darker the immigrant, the worse the immigrant? Not the crime they're doing. No. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, yes, I hadn't considered it from that angle, but yes, of course.
But on the other hand, what I'm most afraid of is I'm right about the orange people about to be people of color. I think it doesn't matter what happens in this election. I told my wife, I said, they're going to take it. And they're going to say, if you want it, come take it. You came up here last time on January 6th, do it again. But we're in power now. See, orange people have not seen the system really turn up. And this is what's scary. Like, seriously, this is what I find concerning. Because if they did what they did out of power and they control the media, do you really think they just gonna give it up? Did you see how they lied last night on all those fact checks and I'm telling you, this is what I'm saying. Like, orange people, I told when we started this show, I said it starts with us. I said that from the very beginning. It starts with us. I'm afraid y'all about to be declassified to full colored people. It doesn't. I pray you don't know how wrong I want to be. But I truly hope I'm wrong. But these people got an agenda, and Trump is bad for their business of the system. They want, they traded in their white sheets for white coats.
Well, if that's what we deserve, then that's what we'll have to go through.
No, I'm just telling you, that's the gaslighting. The level of gaslighting that's going on. The level of she hit every meme as far as the fine people on both sides. I mean, they haven't been debunked.
Well, yes, but meanwhile, a ground game has taken place to do the utmost to protect the integrity of the elections.
Mm-hmm.
And I have faith in this, because if not now, then maybe never. And again, I think the trap is to think that something was lost with the debate. It doesn't matter.
No. This was my thought pre-debate. This is my thought all the way from the beginning of everything. What you say? Well, say that in what do you say it in Dutch? What you are, what I say I am, what you say.
Wat je zegt ben jezelf met je kop door de helft.
Yeah, what do they always say? Trump gets into power, he's not going to relinquish it.
Mm-hmm.
If that holds true, what you say, I'm not saying I'll pray to the God above, I'm wrong. But you just said one word that white supremacy don't have is integrity.
No, exactly.
So I'm just telling you. So I'm just, and I'm saying this from the standpoint of for people's mental health. And I say this to all the producers, all my friends, everybody out there. Are you prepared if it doesn't go the way you expect it to go? Because this is how Black people have to live. If I throw this microphone away after this tonight or today, hear me out. This is how we have to live. Like, I know what's right, but I know how it can go. Mm-hmm. And are you mentally prepared? And like I said, I hope everything goes well and he wins, or even if he don't win, everything's on the up and up, whatever it is. But like I said, are you mentally prepared for what may happen? Because these people are ridiculous.
Agreed. And I'm more concerned about Trump winning what we're going to get on the streets. We have to be prepared for winning too.
Right. Which I would say 4 years, if he wins, they say we kick the can down the road, we can justify it to our base.
It'll be 4 very, very turbulent years.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, but like the Democrat, I mean, this is the calculus they're weighing right now. You know what I'm saying? Not to belabor the point, but they're saying, do we, and let me give you the background from my explanation of why I'm so concerned. They're looking at the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it's all about, is the Supreme Court. Because if they win, Clarence is he can't keep holding on. You can get 2 justices off there, bring some kind of balance back to the courts. This is their logic. This is me doing the war gaming for them. But if Trump wins, Clarence is gone, the other conservative justice is gone, and they get some young, fresh faces in there that will hold the court for a mighty long time.
Yeah. You're right.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, they're desperate. That's the word. Their desperation scares me.
Well, here comes another Dutch saying: "Een kat in het nauw maakt rare sprongen," which means,
translation, please.
When you drive a cat into the corner, it can make very strange jumps.
Okay.
And so
that's who's the cat? That's my question. Like, who's the cat in this situation?
Yeah, the Democrats.
Yeah,
the crazy, crazy Democrat Party.
Right. So I'm just telling you, I'm just, and like I said, I don't want to scare people. I don't want to black pill people. I'm saying this for a mental health standpoint.
Well,
if it doesn't go your way, and I'm telling you, this is my existence, honestly. And like I said, it sounds doomed.
No. You've said this from the beginning. Yeah. You have said this from the beginning. The big takeaways of 100 episodes is it starts with us. We're just first, and orange is a color. So these things have always stuck in my mind. But I also look at America as a federation of states. I look at individual communities. You live in a community. I live in a community. That's where we can make a difference. and or not. And this is America. Not the first time. This is not our first rodeo with nonsense like this.
Yeah. And like I said, I'm not talking about totalitarian kicking in doors, but like you said, communities. Like there was the quote unquote black community. You know what I'm saying? That was like the safe space for black people, you know, that kind of thing. There's going to be orange communities, you know, where you'll have the school board, you'll have the mayor, you'll have city council and that kind of thing. So no, I'm like I said, I'm not speaking from
I live in an orange community.
Right, I live in an orange community.
Yes.
I said I had to go where the guns are. What you mean? You know what I'm saying?
That's right. We give each other guns for birthday presents around here.
You know what I'm saying? I had to come where the guns is at. You know, like for real. You know what I'm saying? GBG all day. But
that's right.
No, I'm just saying like and I just found this time to say it because I mean it. Mentally prepare yourself for the worst and pray for the best. Because that's what, if it happens, you're already ready.
Yeah.
And you don't have to get ready. And I think that's what happened in the aftermath of 2020. A lot of people
weren't ready,
you know, and like to think they won't do it again. We're doing it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, hello, 20, 31, 32, 33, 34. We're at where we're at right now. Oh, you think they won't lock black people up and use them as labor? Hello? We got Wendy's, we got McDonald's.
That's right.
We're still doing it. You know, that's so yeah. You know what I'm saying? They don't stop. They're relentless. And it's because they truly have something wrong in their brain and in their hearts and in their souls. Well, like seriously,
it's spiritual warfare, Mo. And
I feel compassion for them.
Very old. It's a very old story, and once you realize that, then you can see it. And like, okay, I see what's going on here.
Well, since we did that, let's just go ahead and jump to 37 and understand. See, I always try to go deeper into figuring out how can you seek first? How do they think like this? And it took me back to Nietzsche. And how you would Nietzsche, how you want to say it. I've heard 3 to 4 different, more pronunciation than Kamala. You know how people say it.
Yes.
But it's like the genealogy of morality, the master and the slave. 37 explains these people's mindset.
So what about the master's internal psychology? Well, the masters, they're yes-sayers, right? Their first act of evaluation is to say, I'm awesome, I'm beautiful, I'm strong, I'm rich, this is awesome. And what this surplus of confidence provides for the master is that the master becomes somewhat indifferent, a cool nonchalance to the external world. He embraces danger. He's not easily offended at all. And even when he commits atrocities, he walks away cheerful. I quote to you Nietzsche. Masters step back into the innocence of the beast of prey conscience as jubilant monsters, who perhaps walk away from a hideous succession of murder, arson, rape, torture, with such high spirits and equanimity that it seems as if they have only played a student prank, convinced that for years to come, the poets will again have something to sing in praise. The picture that Nietzsche paints of the master is of this joyful brute. And he is a brute, okay? So he's very stupid, partially because he's never had to use his intellect. But what's positive here is his naivete, okay? The fact that he doesn't overthink things.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. They don't overthink things.
Beautiful brute.
Yeah.
Just go around the world, just kicking stuff over, just taking stuff, kicking stuff over, and just causing mayhem on our dime and our name. See, that's what we had to really get. You know, you're doing this under our name. Yeah, I mean, like, and this is when the rubber meets the road. This is their mentality that they don't have. Like there was a Dave Chappelle show that says the guy says he told the cop said I didn't know I couldn't do that, and then the cop walks away and said I did know I couldn't do that. Like, yeah, you know it's wrong, but they don't care. They don't care. But I don't give up hope that even there's salvation for them. I don't.
No, we can't.
Yeah. Let's continue with the master.
So the best way to think about Nietzsche's master is your high school jock, okay? He's a physical specimen. He's on top of the social pecking order. He loves danger, extreme sports, drunk driving, body checking people in hockey. He bullies people, not because he's mad, but for him, it's fun to shove someone into a locker. And you can call all manner of obscenities to his face, partially because he's so smug and confident, partially because he's too stupid to realize what you're actually saying. That might sound a very negative ideal for us, partially because we have been influenced by Christian morality, but it's the naive self-assurance, okay? It's the willingness to indulge in one's simple desires. It's the natural independence. That's the first reason that makes this masterly mode of evaluation preferable to the slave. The second reason that slave morality is despicable for Nietzsche is that they promote bad values. And Nietzsche wants to ask, how can you not promote bad values? You've simply taken what the master's like and you flipped it.
Yeah. I've never read Nietzsche, to be honest about it.
I've gotten into it for two reasons. There's this whole Stoic thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely in the manosphere.
Yeah. Yes, definitely a trend.
Yeah. So in it, you get a lot of the talking points, and when I did the show on the Overman or the Ubermenschen, I think that's how you pronounce it. That's how I got into them. And so when you go down this hall with your algorithm, it starts feeding you more and more psychology and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And how do I want to do this? I know I've got you jumping around, but I want to, what the slave is and really what the N-word is. It goes to Carl Jung and Jung. I heard once
Jung.
again these
Jung.
names.
Jung.
I'm just saying, but
Carl Jung.
Yeah, I know people are gonna hit. No, it's this. You know what I'm saying? Like they're gonna three people gonna give me three different pronunciations afterwards. But I think we need to go to 43 and then come back to the slave mentality.
All right,
because what the slave is, and this is me, and. Okay, so this master and the slave is interpersonal personal relation between two people, or between two groups. Carl Jung is interpersonal, like the intrapersonal or inside yourself. He talks about the shadow. Once again, this is the algorithm feeding me Stoic talking points. But what he says is that your shadow is everything you repress. So if you look at the master, everything he represses is the weakness and morality and all these things, right? He pushes those things down. Then he projects it
onto the slave.
Onto the slave.
Mm-hmm.
That's why black people are N-words, because we're everything that white supremacy don't want to be. They project it on us. Are you following me?
I'm following you, Mo.
And then what they do is use mass media to project this on the world stage and say, look at them. What is a gangster rapper? A gangster rapper is nothing but a warlord.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no difference between Dick Cheney and a rapper. Well, when you really get down to it, you know what I'm saying? We're gonna go slide. We're gonna go slide on the rack. You know, kicking their door. You know, like seriously.
Yeah.
And this is so this is where I got to. I was like, okay, so the shadow is being projected onto the slave. The slave has to do it. The slave don't have no option. So let's get into the projection, and that's 43.
Just because
there are people who are unconscious of their own dark sides, and they project that darkness outward into, say, Jews or communists or whatever the enemy may be, and say, there is the darkness, it is not in me, and therefore because the darkness is not in me, I am justified in annihilating this enemy, whether it be with atom bombs or gas chambers or whatnot. But to the degree that a person becomes conscious that the evil is as much in himself as in the other, to this same degree he is not like to project it onto some scapegoat and commit the most criminal acts of violence upon other people. Now this is to me the primary thing that Jung saw, that in order to admit and really accept and understand the evil in oneself, one had to be able to do it without being an enemy to it. As he put it, you had to accept your own dark side.
Yeah, well, that's the human experience.
Yes.
And America is a media country, and so we do this all day long to each other, all the time.
And I noticed this in movies as I got older. Rocky IV, the Russians was the bad guy.
Yep.
Right? And then it went from the Russians, and then it went to you started seeing the Arabs as the bad guy.
Yeah. The sheik.
Right?
The sheik.
Yeah. And then it went from them, and then, then you had the cartel members, and, that kind of, they were the bad guy for a little while. Now we're back to the Russians. Yep. It's just they're constantly project their shadow on, and I'm not saying these are good people, but I'm just saying that the projection, they're really projecting their shadow off onto whoever they consider their enemy. And this is why when it shocks people that Black people think a certain way, because we thought you thought this way. It's like, no. This is what the media wants you to think. We think. It's like, and that's why every time something trending, it's like, that's normal, but not for how they project and use their mass media, or if you want to say how they cast spells, to manipulate people to think a certain way, the trauma-based entertainment. They've always painted, that's what I said about OJ. They painted OJ. Well, they didn't paint OJ. OJ appeared in that image of what they painted all the years, of this black brute that finally did it.
Yeah.
That's why it was triggering the people. Whether he did it or not, I'm telling you, that's how it appeared.
That's what I'm saying.
I
completely agree.
That's what I'm saying about, that's why Haitians eating your duck is more scary than Latin people kidnapping your kids. Or your cat. They paint, we're at the bottom. And when we say we're at the bottom of every stereotype, because it's a color-based system. Now, they might mess around and put orange down there. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? But more orange, I'm going to tell you why orange is the problem. Because orange has resources.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You know what I'm saying? They have a whole lot more resources than any other colored person. There is. So that's why, that's why they see you, and I hope, not to say you, but I'm talking about the orange people out there. That's why you're seen as the biggest threat, because you actually have resources.
Yeah, you're colored with resources.
Right. Which that's a recipe for disaster.
Can't have that. Yeah.
Can't have that at all. So now we got to go back to 39. Now, hopefully I explained that well. The master, his shadow is projected onto the slave, and the slave becomes everything that the master represses. Don't take my word for it. I did this all in ChatGPT. No, I'm serious. Don't laugh, because you say I'm serious.
I know you did.
As far as what is the common thread? This is what this tool is great for. What is the common thread? You know what I'm saying? What, that kind of thing.
When it comes to language, ChatGPT is useful.
Yes.
All right. 39.
Nietzsche argued that there are two explanations for how morality develops. Part of the story is biopsychological, in terms of what morality resonates with what psychological type of person one is. The other part of the story is cultural, because different moral codes develop under different survival circumstances. And so Nietzsche searches history for the survival circumstances that necessitated the development of slave morality. In the West, Nietzsche finds the slave morality's roots in the Judeo-Christian tradition, in a decisive set of events that occurred early in Jewish history, the enslavement of the Jews in Egypt. The significant result of the Jews being enslaved for a long time was the development and internalization of a moral code suitable for surviving slavery.
Oh, I never thought of Nietzsche in that context.
In what context?
Yeah, of the slavery of the Jews.
Yeah. So basically, he thinks that religion is created to explain why you're inferior. It makes a coping mechanism. They say it like that, like, I'm moral, that's why I'm this way. Not I'm moral because I have to be moral because I can't take on the master.
Yeah, this is where Nietzsche loses me, but I understand where he's coming from.
What I'm not saying, like I said, I'm not taking him at anything other than the mind state of the people that's in power. We have to get inside their head. You know, like your God and my God don't exist to them. I mean, like, seriously.
No.
Like, we're ruled by, you know what, we're going to have to answer later on. We're going to have to answer to a higher power. You know, that's why we're moral. Not the only reason, but you know what I'm saying? It's win-win to be moral. If you don't have that ruling you, and it's like everything on earth, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is the game. That's a very scary mindset to deal with, honestly. To say this is it. So I can do whatever I want to here because there's nothing to answer to afterwards. Are you still there?
Yeah. I was thinking, I don't have anything. I have no comment on it. It's, I'm desperately trying to look at it from your perspective, and
it's not my perspective.
Yeah, it is. It is. You have a lot more experience with thinking this way.
Yeah. All I'm saying is, this is seek first to understand. I'll put myself in their shoes and say, you know what? If I could go do all this bad stuff and there's no really one can stop me and there's no higher power to answer to, why wouldn't I do it?
Right. But I guess where I'm coming from is there is a higher power to answer to.
Yeah.
And that's what I pray for. That's what I pray for. Yeah, the higher power steps in.
No, I agree. Like I said, me and you are more aligned in thinking, but we can't allow that to be a blind spot for us to think that they don't think like that.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they have nobody to answer to in their mind. Like, hey, you know what I'm saying? Let it roll. You know, and that's why I say it's I don't know. That's a scary thought. But let's go and get into part 2.
Suppose that you are a slave. How do you survive? And if you have children who are born into slavery, what survival strategies will you teach them? In order to survive, a slave must obey the master. This does not come naturally. So, the first lesson is, you must stifle your nature. Suppose the master strikes you. The desire for revenge comes naturally, but you have to stifle it. Suppose the master tells you to wait. Being inactive does not come naturally, but you must suppress your desire for activity. Suppose the master tells you to do something you do not want to do. You must override your desire to do what you want and obey. Generalizing, you must train yourself to restrain your natural impulses and to internalize a humble, patient, obedient self. You know you must do this because slaves who do not end up dead.
Yeah. It's interesting in the context of the Haitians, because Haiti is pretty much the only enslaved population in history who successfully revolted against their masters, which were the French.
Could that be the reason why they're demonized? I mean, because you think about it, all of them, everybody that's coming across the border are people of color.
No, I know. I mean, well, yeah, yes.
Is it that mentality? Is it that mentality that I'm not take color out of it?
Well,
take
but
pigmentation out of it.
5 minutes ago, it was Chinese men of fighting age. I think this was just a purposely launched trend. By the way, there's sufficient evidence that it's actually happening, but it doesn't really matter. It was an effective trigger. And notice that Trump didn't say Haitians.
Yeah.
He just says they. They're eating the dogs. So and the whole story behind it is much deeper, of course. But I don't think it's that there's a particular reason for it, that being Haitians.
But to me, the El Salvadorians taking over an part. We just talk about narratives. You know what I'm saying? Like, because all these are just.
They're all narratives.
They're pieces. They're factoids rolled up into, you know what I'm saying, into narratives. Mm-hmm. There's some there to use a term. You know what I'm saying? There's something basis to it. But they're rolling it up into something bigger. And El Salvadorians taking over whole apartment complexes is way more concerning to me than Haitians eating ducks and cats. I'm just saying, like, on the scale of what concerns me, but why is it that we love cats and ducks? Like, what is it? And I'm not expecting you to answer it. I'm just saying, but why did that take hold?
There's,
like I said, I don't want you to put you in a spot to answer. I'm just that's the question I ask myself.
Well, I think I can explain it, because pets are the new children. That is undeniable. That we have over 250 million pets in America. It's probably even more. And your doctor, your fur baby. This has been a narrative that's been building for a long time. People are not having children; they are taking pets, and pets are seen as their children. So I think it's very effective.
Okay, I can see that.
So it's to you and I maybe not the same, but I think in the American psyche in the last 15, 20 years, it really has become incredibly important. Above children, obviously, because
I'll give you that. It's plus eating your pet is foreign.
That's foreign
in nature. You know what I'm saying? Like, eating a horse, we can eat it. You know what I'm saying? Or eating a cat.
But I mean, look at it this way: castrating your kids doesn't have the same effect for some reason. So this is what I say: I never underestimate Trump's ability to speak right into the psyche of the American public, the true American public.
Right.
So,
all right, let's go ahead and get into 41.
Nietzsche argued that
I'm sorry. 41. Here we go.
This naturally leads them to resent the master strongly, but they also start to hate themselves for doing what the master says and for their own role in suppressing themselves. Psychologically, hating oneself causes unbearable pressure inside because the outward discharge of the instinct gets inhibited and turned backward against man himself. Hostility, cruelty, joy and destruction, all this turned against the possessors of such instincts. That is the origin of the bad conscience. Hatred of the strong, self-hatred, and revenge fantasies to ease the pain become the lived psychological reality of such slaves. Make this psychological reality a matter of months and years, and the results will be ugly and poisonous. More provocatively, Nietzsche argues that such slave individuals who feel the internal war most strongly become the social leaders of the slaves. That is to say, they become their priests. It is because of their impotence that in them hatred grows to monstrous proportions.
Yeah. Well, we see that.
That's the boule right there.
That's right.
That's the boule. You know what I'm saying? Like they hate their condition, so they become the priest amongst the slaves.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not really going to change anything. You know, they just send you on a bunch of dummy missions. But we can skip 42 because that's just nearly full of confirming what was said in the previous clip of why black people are full of poison. Now not when I keep saying you, now does everyone understand why there's black on black crime?
Yeah.
You can't take on the master. So what do? You brutalize and victimize each other. Export that across the world. You take that to Africa, you take that to Asia, you take that to everywhere in the world. You have colored people harming other colored people.
That's right.
Because they have no other recourse. And I want to say, I'm going to make, what's the word I want?
An inflammatory statement.
No. I think I understand why this thought process is foreign to you and a lot of the listeners. You have a concept of the cavalry, right?
Mm-hmm.
The cavalry is going to come. You know, there's always a cavalry. You know, even if they get us, you know that the cavalry will come and we'll take the day. That kind of thing.
I think
it's an American concept. You know what I'm saying? Hard baked in by cowboy movies and that kind of thing. That we just got to hold on.
Fair enough.
No, because I'm saying, I mean, I as an American, I adopt some of the same thoughts. You know, like if something happened to me, you know, hopefully American government will come get me. You know, we have that kind of thing.
That I don't think. I think that I'm more like I'm the cavalry. I know my neighbors. I know what we can do together.
That's what I'm saying. But some cavalry is coming. You know,
but not the government. Not the government. Not looking for the sheriff, not looking for the cops.
We don't have a concept of cavalry.
No, I see. Of course, I understand. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, if it hits the fan, there's no, you know, and that's that slave master relationship. Of is like you kind of got to go along to get along because there's no, and the weird thing about it, I said it again, I got to stop it. But the fascinating thing, that's the word I was looking for, is that 13% of the population of the world versus 87% of the world is colored versus white.
Mm-hmm.
But the colored people don't have the mentality of a cavalry.
Yep.
That's high power mind control, my friend. Which I'm saying, what I'm saying is it shouldn't be a need for that. But I'm just saying, like, that's a spell that's cast throughout the world that, like, no matter what, and let me say this, they have the muscle to back it up. Oh, let's be clear of that.
Mm-hmm.
They have the muscle to back it up, and that's why they play this brinksmanship game with the world. Like, are you effing around to find out? You know that kind of thing.
Mm.
So I'm just saying, I'm trying to seek first to understand, and that's why I just thought about the cavalry. Like, you know, like right at that moment, like in cowboy movies, when all hope is lost.
Well,
you hear the horn blowing.
Well, that's exactly it. That's your mind control right there.
Yeah.
The movies.
Of course. But I'm just saying, and I would love to hear people chime in on this, but as a black person, I never thought about the cavalry of a black cavalry coming to save you.
Right.
So I'm just trying to get, like I said, the practices seek first to understand in real time, because yeah. So we're gonna wrap this up with the next set of clips, because this sounds very black pillish, but no, what I was doing was diagnosing the problem. Right. Whenever you have a problem, you have to get a diagnosis of the problem.
You've done that very well, to a depressing point, I might add.
No, well, it's not, because like if they figure out what's wrong, like it's kind of like when you go to the doctor, like, I don't feel well, and they run a battery of tests and nothing's coming back. Like all hope is lost.
That's worse. Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't even know what I'm fighting here. My thing here is like, okay, we ran the battery of tests. Okay, we're dealing with masters. Okay, now how do you deal with masters? Like how do you deal with this mentality? Okay, so first we had to figure out, and this is going to be left field. I don't know if you ever heard this or not. Let me just set it up. Minister Farrakhan and Scientology. Have you heard about that before?
Well, I know about the Church of Scientology. I've read Dianetics, actually.
Yeah. Well, so it's Farrakhan, and he found a lot of value in it, to the point that he was supporting it and suggesting it to the NOI.
But I found something in the teaching of Dianetics of Mr. L. Ron Hubbard that I saw could bring up from the depth of our subconscious mind things that we would prefer to lie dormant. But the auditing process brings it up, and it's like bringing up demons out of us. And just as this book Bible says, that was the work of Jesus. How can you say you love Jesus the Christ when he was an exorciser of demons out of the people?
I'd never heard that clip before.
I'm not supporting Scientology. I'm not even supporting what Farrakhan was saying there. My point is this: we have to do a self-audit on ourselves. That's my suggestion to people. Because 90% of your problems is internal.
I would say 100%.
You have some outside influences, but 90% of your problems are internal, whether how you spend your money, how you spend your time, how you spend your resources, were you allowed it into your psyche? I mean, there was a bunch of questions like, why don't you watch a movie if you're going to talk about it when we talk about trauma-based entertainment? I don't need that poison in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need, you just said it yourself. It's like the movies is the problem. We're constantly being bombarded with all kind of propaganda and mind control. So we have to do an audit of our lives and say, how am I spending my time? How am I spending my resources? You're on this, as rightfully so, of this kick of what are we putting in our bodies?
Yep.
What are we eating? Like a lot of times, like we give it up to the masters. They ain't got to take it
completely. In that regard, the world, but certainly America, is completely enslaved to the food masters.
Mm-hmm.
Totally.
And they got slaves serving the other slaves.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely
it's a 360. True. You know what I'm saying? 360 racket here. But I'm just to illustrate my point further. Do you actually look inward? I'm talking to, like I said, this is the final white pill that Moe's gonna give you. You know what I'm saying? In this iteration of whatever I'm doing, I never left people on a negative. Because I understand, you know what I'm saying, how that can, and that's why I stress this is not a black pill. What we were going through is a battery of tests to figure out what is the concern, what is the problem. And the problem is we're dealing with a master slave system, and are you being a willing slave? And when I'm asking these questions, I'm asking them to myself. How are you supporting the system, Mo? How are you being compliant to the system? Go ahead.
I was going to have you come up with an answer to that.
Yeah. And you have to change how you spend your money, how you spend your time,
that's right,
how you spend your vote, how you spend your energy. You know, are you focused on the things that matter? Prioritization, putting first things first. All this 7 habits. Oh, we going 7 habits heavy. But that's why I believe in that set of habits. When you start putting first things first and think win-win and seek first to understand and to be understood and strive for synergy.
Things change for you.
Right. But all that is in your power. It's not external powers. You don't need any external stimulus or any external compliance to make this happen. And then what Neely said is everything I'm doing, is it constructive or non-constructive? It's only 2 boxes. Is this behavior or this thought constructive or non-constructive? And you put it in the right box. That thought, it doesn't help me. That worry, it doesn't help me. Non-constructive. I'm not spending time on that. You ask me and this is constant auditing. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I sit down with a notepad and like, let me audit for today. You know, it's like, it's real time.
Well, for a lot of people, reading their Bible every single day is literally an audit of yourself.
Right. Correct. Because what it does, it recenters you.
Mm-hmm.
And I totally agree with that. And I don't know if I said this on the show or not, but I read Proverbs every day.
Yeah.
Because there's 31 chapters in Proverbs, right? So if you start on the first of the month and just cycle through every month.
Oh, that's a good one.
Came to find out my grandfather had been doing that for years when I told him. But I'm just telling you, like, because that's a recentering, and it's wisdom based knowledge.
Sure is.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that kind of thing. Those kind of forming those kind of habits. So that's what I believe. And then we're gonna get to Dr. Bruce Lipton here on how to reprogram your mind. And I know people like, man, you're coming with all this, what do they call it?
New age?
A new age. No. Because if you're a believer, all of this is in the Bible. That's as far as, what did it say? Renew your mind.
Yeah.
What is that scripture? But anyway, like I said, it's this constant reflection, reflecting on your every word. You know what it's talking about, idle words and idle thoughts and these kind of things. This ain't new age. Now it is, you know what I'm saying, but it's not exclusive to new age and it's not exclusive to the Bible. That's why I'm always careful on what I bring up and out, because I don't want to feel like a captive audience to a Christian exclusive conversation. Hopefully whatever I talk about is value.
Romans 12, do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind.
That's it right there.
I thought that's what you meant. I had to look it up though.
Yeah, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It don't get no more new age than that. You know what I'm saying? Like, for all the people out there, I knew it. I knew Mo was, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, you ain't gonna put that on me. But this is Dr. Bruce Lipton, and he gets into the subconscious and then how you reprogram your mind.
Every human, and it's a fact, every human first 7 years is download a hypnosis. The brain of a child under 7 is in a lower vibrational frequency. When you put wires on a person's head, you read electroencephalograph, reading brain activity. A child below 7 has a lower vibration than consciousness. It's called theta. Theta is imagination. Theta is also hypnosis. And the idea is this: before you can become conscious, If you don't have any programs, what are you going to be conscious of? So nature makes the first 7 years. What kind of programs are required to live on this planet? I say, how do you get them? Theta is hypnosis. You just watch. You watch your parents, you watch your siblings and your community, because you have to learn how many 100,000 rules. Think about it. Just to be a functional member of a family and a functional member of a community, there are rules. Teach an infant these rules. Oh, you don't have to. First 7 years, they observe it and just download it. And then I say, well, why is it relevant? Because this is the unfortunate fact. 95% of our life comes from those programs in the subconscious.
I don't know who Dr. Bruce Lipton is, but he's describing Dianetics right there.
Okay.
Theta, all of that stuff. That's all from their machine. You know, I have one of those machines, actually.
I didn't know this was all related. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm following the threads here. I did not know what Farrakhan was talking about and was related to this. I'm following the threads.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I'm bringing this up is nobody teaches you how to be an N-word.
That's right.
Nobody sits you down. It's like, hey, this is how you're going to be black or N-word, right? No, it's you witness interactions as a young child. And maybe this is why I'm weird in the definition of how Neely uses it, because I grew up in a pretty much constructive household. So that's why I seem stranger in my own world, because my mom, you know, she was very open to different ways of thinking. Even though she's Christian based, she was always looking for other improvements. You know what I'm saying? Like, she was on colonics in the 80s and that kind of stuff. Like,
of course,
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, she was, especially for a black woman. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was out there.
Yeah,
the aloe vera and all that. And then, like I said, my dad, he was strong in his masculinity, so that's an awkward combination in the first place.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, but if you grow up in the traditional media-driven, trauma-based environment, you're naturally going to learn to be a victim. This is how this mind virus is, which I call a malware, is human malware, is what it is. It's not that's why I don't believe in scientific racism. We're naturally born biologically inferior. All this is learned behavior, and it's learned so early on in this first 7 years, I believe, or sooner or later, who knows, you know what I'm saying? But it's learned. Like I said, I don't get into specifics.
Well,
but I'm just saying
the analogy of a computer operating system, we've talked about it several times throughout this episode. That holds true. And of course, you know, everything is a fractal of everything else. So computer systems are in fact a fractal of the human mind.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, malware is a very appropriate analogy.
And it specifically I gave it a specific term. Me and Grunt have been working on this. I came up with it on one of his lives late night. It was like me and him were just riffing. And for lack of a better word, it's the nigger mindset.
There it is.
And all it is, you know, and I'll use that in the artistic, in a specific term, because it's an actual scientific terminology. And what it is it's the complete opposite of the 7 habits. It's being reactive. It's putting first things last. You know what I'm saying? Like, and when you go down the list, and me and him went down, it was like, this is it. This is what is expected of us. You know, we in the first thing last, we're expected to practice the touchdown dance before we learn how to run the touchdown. You follow? Like, we're expected, you know, no synergy. We want to be understood first, then to be understood. I mean, we're about to be understood first, then understand other people, and it goes down the list. And I'm writing something.
Those who want to be first will be last. Those who will be last will become first.
Exactly. So this is the malware, you know, and I'm noticing that it's spreading. You know, it's spreading like wildfire, and that's what put me on the orange is the new color person, because I'm seeing behaviors that's typically targeted towards my group being
deployed,
widespread,
deployed.
Deployed.
Mm-hmm.
So, but there's hope, because in 46, here's the hope.
And the Jesuits, for 400 years, they were boasting. People didn't understand. They say, give me a child until it's 7 and I will show you the man. They've been saying that for 400 years because they knew 7 years was the program period. The conscious mind is creative and can learn in any number of ways. Read a self-help book, go to a lecture, listen to this, and conscious mind's going to get some awareness. And I go, yeah, but subconscious mind doesn't learn that way. Subconscious mind learns in 2 fundamental ways naturally. Hypnosis, which is the first 7 years, and after age 7, how do you put new programs in? Repetition, practice. I like the last one because there's a new phrase that's bandied about called fake it till you make it. Meaning, if you're not a happy person, I say, you want to be a happy person? Then repeat all the time, I'm happy, I'm happy. I say, well, you don't look happy or anything. I say, no, who am I talking to? By repetition, I'm talking to subconscious. If subconscious gets, I am happy, and 95% of your life comes from that subconscious, there will be a point once the subconscious got, I am happy, you don't have to say it again. It'll be automatic.
Yeah. That's computer programming 101.
But also that's faith-based, because you pray and then you believe as it already has happened. Yeah. That's the fake it till you make it. You say like it's already happened.
That's the same thing that Anthony Robbins does in his power talks. That's what the secret is. It's all parts of the same thing.
And what it really is having control over your thoughts. And what brought it home for me is really when it started. A guy named Dion at my former job, he had a small booklet on his arm. And I was like, well, what you reading, Dion? He was like, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. And he said, I'll send you a link. And he sent me the link. And I found this before the 7 Habits. And he sent me the link. And I challenged myself, it's the repetition, to listen to it for 30 days straight. I challenged myself. And it like I said, it worked. It worked. It's not because of what they're saying. It's because it's shifting your mind. And it starts with 47.
I'd like to tell you about the strangest secret in the world. Not long ago, Albert Schweitzer, the great doctor and Nobel Prize winner, was being interviewed in London, and a reporter asked him, Doctor, what's wrong with men today? The great doctor was silent a moment, and then he said, Men simply don't think. And it's about this that I want to talk with you. We live today in a golden age. This is an era that man has looked forward, dreamed of, and worked toward for thousands of years. But since it's here, we pretty well take it for granted. We in America are particularly fortunate to live in the richest land that ever existed on the face of the earth, a land of abundant opportunity for everyone. But do you know what happens? Let's take 100 men who start even at the age of 25. Do you have any idea what will happen to those men by the time they're 65? But by the time they're 65, 1 will be rich, 4 will be financially independent, 5 will still be working, 54 will be broke. Now think a moment. Out of the 100, only 5 make the grade.
Okay.
That's because they don't think.
No.
And that sounds silly, right? You would, even for myself, but you realize, I was surprised. And everything I'm saying today is I've tried it. It's been successful. I'm less confused. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not sitting there touting myself as outside of the mindset, because it's constant. It's like a fire hose. You know, it's constant bombardment. But what happened is I realized how little I was actually thinking. Most of the time you're being reactive. Things happen in the day and you just react to them. You go to work, you react to emails, you react to this, you know, you come home, you're just constantly putting out fires all the time, and you never have a chance to prevent fires. This is what Covey talks about, sharpening the saw. You have to learn how to start preventing fires. Am I making, like, hopefully?
I think you're making a lot of sense.
Because what I'm telling people, all in a nutshell, you have the power. How much brain are you using every day? How much are you really thinking?
Well, clearly what's going on is 5 to 8 hours a day, people are scrolling.
If you're scrolling, you're not doing what?
You're not thinking.
Right. And you're not even focused on your problem. You're saying like you're in an escapism.
That's exactly right. There it is in a nutshell. That's it right there. Stop doing that and spend that time thinking.
And what is that escapism? That escapism is mind control. So you're making the problem worse. You know what I'm saying? You're pouring gas on the fire. But just by let me get some more programming. Mm-hmm. Let me get some more programming. And that's what I'm saying. We live in the best of times and the worst of times. It's so much free information out here. Everything I played today, it didn't cost me anything to go listen to it and find it. Are you training your algorithm the right way? Think about it, Adam. When we buy a phone, right? It doesn't feed us a bunch of negative stuff when you take it out the box, does it?
No, it makes me feel good. It smells nice.
You have to train it. It's like, oh, you one of them negative people, huh? Let me give you some of this trauma. Let me give you some of this mind control. Yeah, you seen this video? Let me give you 5 more like it.
Yeah.
Where if you look at, like I said, all this stuff, the stoicism and all this other stuff was fed the algorithm. When I start looking for it, start feeding. So the algorithm's not the problem.
No, it's even better than that because people talk about, like TikTok, the Chinese are doing this or that. No, you're doing it to yourself. The algorithm is pretty dumb, actually. All it does is give you more of what you just saw. And if you do another one, then it doubles. You do another one, then it's exponential. And that's how people go down. That's how they go into the death trap. And everyone falls into it from time to time. I usually fall into it with airplane crash videos, mm-hmm. which all to me is educational. But then before you know it, I'm looking at influencers getting arrested by police. Yeah.
And that's the slippery slope of.
But I'm aware of it, and I also I have a really stupid phone that doesn't work very well. Helps. Mm-hmm. It helps.
So that's all I'm saying is think. Start there. Just start there and think. Realize what you're consuming. All right, let's go into 40. I want to wrap this up because I don't want to belabor people too long.
Now, it stands to reason that a person who's thinking about a concrete and worthwhile goal is going to reach it because that's what he's thinking about. And we become what we think about. Conversely, the man who has no goal, who doesn't know where he's going, and whose thoughts must therefore be thoughts of confusion and anxiety and fear and worry, becomes what he thinks about. His life becomes one of frustration, fear, anxiety, and worry. And if he thinks about nothing, he becomes nothing. Now, how does it work? Why do we become what we think about? Well, I'll tell you how it works as far as we know. Now, to do this, I want to tell you about a situation that parallels the human mind. Suppose a farmer has some land, and it's good, fertile land. Now, the land gives the farmer a choice. He may plant in that land whatever he chooses. The land doesn't care. It's up to the farmer to make the decision. Now, remember, we're comparing the human mind with the land. Because the mind, like the land, doesn't care what you plant in it. It will return what you plant, but it doesn't care what you plant.
You reap what you sow.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. It's as good as the Bible, the strangest secret.
And here's the scary part for parents out there. If you're planning anxiety in your field, your children in that theta stage, whatever age it goes to, I'm not hard set to these numbers at age 7 or whatever your children are around you and you're consuming and you're letting off that energy, it's going right into their little brains and in their little hearts and their little souls. And do you wonder why these children need all of this medication and all this anxiety?
Yeah. Anxiety, the number one thing the Bible helps you get rid of. I don't want to sound preachy here, but it's all over that book. It's all over it. It's all about anxiety.
And if you don't want to put the Bible into your life, at least take the devil out your life. You know what I'm saying? Like start there.
Amen. Yeah, exactly.
Start there. You know, like don't let that negative energy breed like us. There's a word back in during COVID, slough. You're sloughing negativity all over your children.
Yeah.
And anxiety. And I say this because I love you. I love everybody and I love everything. You know what I'm saying? Even the people that, you know what I'm saying, that want to see me do harm. I love everybody because it's easier that way, to be honest. It's less taxing.
Yeah, it is.
to love everybody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Hate is hard. Hate takes a lot of work.
A lot of energy.
A lot of energy. I don't got time for that. Let's go on and get into 49.
Stop thinking about what it is you fear. Each time a fearful or negative thought comes into your consciousness, replace it with a mental picture of your positive and worthwhile goal. There will come times when you will feel like giving up. It's easier for a human being to think negatively than positively. That's why only 5% is successful. You must begin now to place yourself in that group. For 30 days, you must take control of your mind. It will think only about what you permit it to think. Each day for this 30-day test, do more than you have to do. In addition to maintaining a cheerful, positive outlook, give of yourself more than you've ever done before. Do this knowing that your returns in life must be in direct proportion to what you give. The moment you decide on a goal to work toward, you're immediately a successful person. You're then in that rare and successful category of people who know where they're going. Out of every 100 people, you belong to the top 5.
Yeah. You know, this is, there you go. This is our next series. Will be a self-help series with Adam and Moe. How to be successful in 30 days.
Hey, look. Don't threaten me with a good time because seriously,
I like that.
It's so much negativity out here in the everything is just like negative.
Yeah. This is, if I can just say, this is the secret behind no agenda. We went through COVID and we were just laughing the whole time. We would I mean, it was dire. It was bad.
Right.
But we were just laughing about it. Like, oh, no. You know, if you, that's the best way. That's the best way to change your own behavior, to change your insight, your thinking, makes you feel good, particularly if you can laugh. It's always better.
Just health-wise laughing.
That's
proven. It's just an act of laughing. You know,
proven.
It's proven to help. And that's what we've done here with such a heavy topic of race. Who would think this episode would end like how it began?
Oh, I knew it would because I know you. I know your format. I know what you do. You always take us down to the darkest depths, and then you pull us right back up.
You have to, because like, look, it's the darkest before dawn. You know what I'm saying? Like that's a real phenomenon. It's gonna get dark, but my thing is, if you can learn how to love those people that want to harm you, they have no power over you. That's what turning the other cheek was about. Like I said, not to be captive audience.
Mo, you're being a black Jesus right now.
No, I know. Don't put that on me. You know what I'm saying? Well, you say, remove this cup from me. You say, no, but I'm being like, this is how you have to interact, because don't be a negative Nancy. And I'm telling you, this stuff works. Try to listen to The Strangest Secret for 30 days. Just make a habit of it, hearing something positive. If nothing else, to hear something positive. It worked for me. And the reason why it worked for me is it changed how I saw things. Because when you're in corporate America and your kids are getting older and you're looking like, is this it? Is it coming to this cubicle? Is this it? And then you start thinking like, no, I got this other talent. And honestly, and I never told you this, Adam. Before I met you, and before I even got into commentating, I was headed back into music. You know, because I'm like, God gave me this gift. I need to really take it seriously. You know, that kind of thing. Not performing music, but like more producing, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But then doing that and that habit and doing those habits and doing that. And then, like I told you, I heard a guy said, are you a talker or are you a doer? And that rang a bell. And then I called into a show and another show. And then that gave me the confidence to reach out to you. And then here I am. So your path is not going to be set. It's the willingness to get up and walk every day or run every day is what you control. Now, where it's going to take you.
In fact, being open to seeing another path and going down that path is what's always been successful for me.
Speak on it.
I mean, my whole life. I mean, it took me until I was 50 to realize what I'd been doing. But I'd going through all these different paths, and I'm like, oh, I'm a broadcaster. Oh, that's what I am. And I didn't really, and, you know, I'd already been doing No Agenda for 7 years.
Right. And
all these other things are paths I needed to take to come to the realization of what my true calling is. Mm-hmm. And it can be, can be all kinds of different things, but I am a doer in talking. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. I mean, cause that's your thought about it. You think about it. Cause when we do what we do, a lot of thought goes into it.
But I mean, I started several companies. I took a company public on NASDAQ. What I find myself doing? Talking all day, talking. Like I'm talking to investors. I'm talking to clients. Now, at a certain point, I'm like, I'm talking crap. I got to stop that. So I left my own companies. Like I can't, I love talking, but I can't speak lies or half truths to sell something, which I think is why I can identify it so well. So yeah, and I hope you get back into music.
Well, like I said, it became a hobby more than anything now because this became my first priority because like you said, I didn't know what this show was going to be. We didn't know the show was like, hey, let's just talk.
I still don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't either. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all tell us. You're saying right here to tell us what it is, you know, because it's just, I find interest in something. I start to think about it. I start to investigate it. I start to put stuff together, collect things, find common threads. And this is how you have 100 episodes of this, which I'm about to wrap up now with, you wouldn't believe, Reverend Ike. Are you familiar with Reverend Ike, sir?
I am not familiar with the good Reverend.
Well, Reverend Ike, he was a pastor. He got accused of like taking money from his congregation. But here's the thing. As my a good friend, Brother Theo, say, eat the meat and leave the bones. And if somebody has one thing valid or valuable to add to the conversation, hear them out, because that might be their one purpose in life. And what he talks about, he confirms what Dr. Bruce talked about, the subconscious mind. And then the next clip, he's going to talk about the power of positive thinking. 50.
The subconscious mind can also be likened unto a computer. And the computer people have a wonderful slogan that they use in their business. They say, garbage in, garbage out. And many times people wonder, and they ask me, Reverend Ike, how is it that these things are happening to me? Why? What have you put into your mental computer? What have you put into your subconscious mind? So I want to instruct you on telling your mind what to think. Now please listen to this. Your individual presence of mind should be operated by you and given strict orders by you. But these orders, as I indicated before, should be given lovingly and joyfully. If you do not tell your mind what to think, the world will keep your mind confused.
Yeah. Amen, Reverend Ike.
Directed thinking. Like, control your mind. That's all I'm going to add to that. Just control your mind, and you'll be surprised how little you actually do it.
Yeah. And if you control it, and if you exercise it, it's amazing things will happen.
Mm-hmm. Just being focused on how being in control of it is a game changer in itself. Believe me, because the passive thoughts we have, the implanted thoughts we have, is a big one. Is the implant? Is it thought your thought, or was it implanted in your mind from a second source?
What was that phrase again from the earlier clip? The culture something economy. What was that?
Culture war economy.
Because that's what a lot of people are trapped in. The culture war economy. They're trapped
on both sides.
Yeah, oh yeah, all sides.
On all sides. Well, you beat me to it.
360.
You beat me to it. Yep. To all sides. They just find their flavor, or flavor. Your flavor finds you.
Yeah. Culture war economy. That's exactly what we're in. That's it. The culture war economy. I love that phrase.
All right. So here it is.
Here it comes.
This is the last and final clip of the 100th episode, 51.
I'm talking about how to use your mind power to get what you want now. And I want to talk about the idea now for a moment. Let me hear everybody say now. Let's be even more emphatic by saying right now. Now, most of you know that I am not a pie in the sky preacher. All of you who want pie in the sky by and by, when you die, you're in the wrong church this afternoon. I'm a now preacher. This is a now message which I bring to you. And why am I a now preacher? Because now is the only time there is. Yesterday is gone and tomorrow never comes.
Who was that?
That's Reverend Ike.
Reverend Ike again. Wow. You know, he reminds me a bit of Tony Evans. You know, Reverend Tony Evans?
Yes.
Who also, by the way, recently just resigned under some issues which have not been defined. He does a lot of sermons just like that. Just like that.
But Reverend Ike, he had a huge church. And like I said, some of the things, eat the meat, leave the bones. But the point and last final point I want to make is, and this is prevalent amongst black people, that heaven has our answers. We're going to struggle on earth, and then, we'll get our fair share of help. No.
That's not the message of Jesus.
No, I want mine today. You know what I'm saying? Because he said, I ask, knock, and he should answer, right? So I'm knocking today. I want mine today, and that's the mindset we got to have, that we want a better life, a better world. We want a place where nobody's mistreated. Everybody can get what they need today.
It can be done once we start loving each other.
Well, I love you, Adam. I really do, sir.
Mo, I love you, brother. I really do. And I am grateful that we have been allowed to do this, that we have been put together to do this. And I, for one, very much look forward to the next thing that he has in store for us.
Well, my antennas are up and I'm listening to what is the next move. But until then, as I always say, pay attention to everything and the truth will reveal itself.
And going out with style with Mr. James Brown. Mo, thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you, Adam.
And thank you for listening to Moe Factz with Adam Curry for 100 episodes.
You know, we're dealing with a very critical and crucial time. Most crucial and critical time that I've ever witnessed. Being as young as I am, you know. We all don't want to say nothing else, so we say as young as we are. Now I want to talk about the pronunciation and the realization. Now the educators, they call it ESP, positive thinking, right? Some of the people on the cross other side of the pond call it vibrations, astrology, and all those different things. You understand? But I call what it is what it is. What it is what it is. Look at him. Now you see, brother, you take in the ghetto, you find a whole lot of crime. I can understand, hey, I know what it means. Being 9 years old before I got my first pair of underwear out of a store. You know, putting on a half press suit from the pawn shop with tennis shoes. Trying to be hip, so I know where it's coming from. Like the fella say, having catfish head stew. And then like the catfish went in there with his head and come out very quick and didn't leave nothing else. Now it's one thing the educators and the politicians and the establishment got to remember. Now brothers need jobs. If you don't work, you can't eat. If you don't work, you can't eat. Get hip to yourself, good God, my brother, and get it from the street. If you don't work, you can't eat. Sis, you don't work, Lord, you can't eat. So you got to have mind power to deal with starvation. And that's what we're dealing with. You see, we can't go back to the biblical stories. 2 loaves of bread. Or 2 little fishes, 5 loaves of bread. 2 little fishes, yeah. 5 loaves of bread. Now look here, too many brothers to go by that. Now I want your brothers to dig where we're coming from. Set your mind right here. Dig the JBE experience. I dug this from a young man out of New York. He said the GBE. The GBE. Now we want to take it to the JBE. The JB experience. Now Fred, brother, lay it on me, lay it. Mind power. Mind power. What it is, what it is. What it is, what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. It is what it is. That's what it is. It is what it is. That's what it is. South side of Chicago, the Bay Area, Watts, 5 Point, Buttermilk Bottom in Atlanta, 9th Street in Augusta, West Broad in Savannah, U Street in Washington, going over to Baltimore, South Street in Philly, Boston. I know somebody need to help us. Just give us a chance. Somebody, brother, to across the nation. You gotta get yourself together, unified. We need information. Brothers across the nation, pass on that right on information. Brothers across the nation. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right.
Woosah. Woosah. And woosah. Woosah. Woosah.